I just wanted to say, after coming back from my little mini vacation, which was extremely fun. I know I've been gone for a few weeks. I put like one video out, and gonna start the grind up again here soon. But while I was gone, I stopped in on a few live streams, checked out a few people that I haven't really stopped in and saw in a while. Some of them are friends, and I have to say that the people who at one time were acting as flying monkeys, not directly, but indirectly flying monkeys for the X. I see that there's a lot of cross promotion going on. People, visiting other people's streams, hanging out in different circles. Some of those circles are still actually people I still talk to, which is kind of far and few between, very rare. But I am at the point where I've gotten so far into what I'm doing, who I am, confidence in myself, past all that point, done, I just want to say that I'm probably going to be coming back around to the old circles here and there. Not all of them, but just one or two. And if I happen to bump into anybody who was at some time or point, anti-Walton, Walton's really the narcissist, trashing me, whatever the fucking case was, whatever the deal was, with few exception, I'm done. I've buried the hatchet. I don't look at people's streams. I can't tell you the last time I cared to investigate and see if Narcex was doing this or what was being said or what smear was being played. I just don't care anymore. And I'm in my own direction, my own vein of doing things. And the landscape's completely changed. So if we happen to run into each other, or if I happen to go to a stream where someone I would consider was a flying monkey or aiding in the smear campaign and Narcex is there, if you're cool, I'm cool. Straight up. If you're cool, I'm cool. No need to be aggressive or inflammatory in any way. If you want to just if you're trying to build your channel and build your social media presence or operate in different circles, things change, people change. So I'm at this point back to where I was a long time ago, where if you're going to grow, you're going to grow. Everyone has a right to. And if nobody's going to smear campaign or come after me, I don't care what you're doing. Might not be friends, but we can be cool. And that's where I'm at with it. So get out there, grow your channels, do your thing. Make sure to be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Suffer no fools.
Let's get this straight now. I never fucked anybody over in my life. Didn't have it coming. You got that? All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand? You want to go on with me? You say it. You don't? Then you make a move.
Who is he?
He's an asshole, sir.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
This town needs an enema.
You want to do it again and put on some interracial porn?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
I know that. What's his name?
Roman Red.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. No way. It's better than yours.
No, go past this. Past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Then sell fucking Epcot Center! If we can't get people on the rides, then sell the fucking thing! No, I said more Mandalorian!
Not to worry. We are now armed with Mighty Joint. Mighty Joint. Pull out.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
What is happening, my savage friends? You're listening to The Throat of Immortal Coil. Your oracle of whiskey mysticism, revolution is my name. We kind of threw this together impromptu, so go ahead and put the kids to bed because the adults are going to be talking. This broadcast is protected by Section 504C, Chapter 2 of the United States Code, which means we're going to be exploring these through the lenses of social commentary, parody, satire, critique, analysis, humor, of course, and the goodwill of our chat. What is going on? Hail, hail.
Yeah, hail and hail. Hail and I'm trying to figure out why I can't bring up the stream on my freaking YouTube. Hail to you, brother. How have you been? I haven't talked to you in a couple weeks.
Dude, yeah, so I want to give a shout out to my buddy Shellback. He's been kind of hosting me, foistering me, giving me a little cave to sleep in. And then our good friend Jillian. I'm pretty sure it's like nighttime on that side of the world. So, but Jillian was kind enough. She mailed me a phone, and then unfortunately that phone met its demise, and so I had to work for a couple weeks and get my replacement phone, because at this point I don't have a laptop. Everything that I'm doing online, I'm running from a smartphone, and at least I'm not outdoors anymore. But
You're not hanging out with the Fae.
nah, not this time.
No,
I told
no,
my buddy
dude.
that story, and I thought he was going to think I was full of shit, but he's like, they've been talking about those guys for thousands of years, so it doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
So I gave a it's great. I gave a spell to one of my clients for her narc.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll give them out. You know what I mean? But the one that I gave her had an element in it, iron shavings, which is used to distort or deflect or like create a boundary against demonic, like really dark entities.
Yes.
And so she did it. She was real excited about it and everything. And she went through it. She's like, she's weird. She's like, she's a witch, but she's like she's of Christian heritage. So she's like, I feel like I'm a witch, but I'm not a witch, but I'm like a warrior for God. And I said, honey, that is so on point. You don't understand.
Yeah.
Most people can't understand that. But anyway, she's really into Fae magic, and she was saying, she was like, people were telling me that iron, like Fae don't like iron. And I told her, I said, she goes, will it like affect the Fae? And I was like, I don't know, but throughout my life, I've been like in the necromancy kind of realm, like the darker realms.
Yeah.
And so that might very well be true. And so I looked it up and I was like, well, yeah, the Fae don't like iron used as an element, and they actually stay away from it. So, so I'm still learning to this day,
That's interesting, because I thought that the Fae were a manifestation of Earth spirit, and for them to not like iron,
I mean,
that's new to me as well.
So think about it. Think about it in the terms like, let's just go off the premise that at one time Fae walked, along the same lines as humans at some point in the past.
Right.
Look, there were civilizations in pre-Iron Age that worked with, like, lived with them off
readily,
and things like that.
You're right.
Readily.
You're
and
right.
then as soon as the Iron Age came, you had a lot of like, I want to say, like, how the toxic aspect of masculine energies kind of began to run things, and have up until now. So,
I get your meaning.
So iron at that time would have been like, oh my God, here come the fucking humans, the ones that want to kill us, so I get it. Like, I don't know. It's not my vein of experience, so
well, and it's interesting. So you were talking about how your friend had a strange connotation about the word witch. And truthfully, once the Abrahamic religion started taking over and less of the nature-based religions were practiced, those sorts of things became taboo. Witches were demonized and hunted, of course, as you well know. And then
they didn't even use that word, like, because, like, I mean, like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, I was trying to explain this to someone the other week. That's a smear campaign. That word is a smear campaign by psychos and narcs who ran religious institutions back in the day.
Right.
And that smear campaign still lives to this day, even up to the idea of the witch flying on a broomstick with a big green nose and all that shit. That's like dark age smear campaign shit.
Well, like cats were associated with the goddess, and then ravens, of course. I mean, you can tell everybody about ravens, and then suddenly those became like harbingers of evil. And that's the thing too. I think the focus on the Abrahamic religions, or those people who practiced it, paid less attention to the natural realm. So even if there were Fae, they weren't able to be perceived because no one's thinking to do so.
Well, look at the nature. Okay, the nature of all right, like the polytheistic belief systems at the time. Knowledge was readily available unless it was an oracle-based system, right? Where like the knowledge is the secrecy, like, because the whole basis of a mage or a magician or wizard or whatever the fuck, and priest, and this goes into priests too. It's about them having a secret connection, secret knowledge. Now, one of the big differences between the ancient pre-Iron Age and Iron Age beliefs, polytheistic pantheons, were the readily available information of this is what this does. This is why we pray. This is why we do it on this day, and the connection between a person and that aspect of source. Whereas when you get more into the war god religions, and there were pagan and monotheistic war god religions, but when you get more into like post Zoroastrian monotheistic beliefs, then they kind of become where the people, especially in Europe, the people aren't allowed to know the knowledge that the church has. The church has that secret knowledge, and because they have the power, because knowledge is power. And like the plebs, that's why like, your Dark Age and your Iron Age, serfs and so forth they didn't read, they didn't write. There was like, they weren't educated, and a major difference I must say, between that and Islam, where if you acquiesce to Islam being the religion of the time, then you did have the availability for education and so forth. So it really just comes down to like regional and how it was dispensed. But when it comes to Dark Age and pre-Dark Age pagan religions in the European region, then a lot of them were sequestered. The knowledge was taken, hidden. And I think to this day, they still use it. If you look at like the Catholic Church, like they still do pagan ceremonies, worship in a polytheistic way.
So I got two thoughts about that, man. I definitely want to ride that wave that you just put out. So the first one is just a thought. There's a very convincing argument that Yahweh is actually a war god. So as you brought that up, because you read
Yahweh, absolutely. So
all the people that like worshipped him, he's just commanding them to go and slaughter and fucking kill and do all this and do all that. And then secondly, you are totally correct. The Catholic Church totally practices pagan ritual, even to the point where they say like a psychic receiving a vision he's trafficking with the devil. But if a saint receives a vision, then it's a big fucking to do, right?
Well, go back to like Joan of Arc, right? Joan, who was highly intuitive, warrior goddess energy, who received messages from the divine, and those messages helped her to fight, in the French army and lead. So, but as soon as people, the patriarchs in power who were misogynist, saw that, and the revival of, I think actually like Joan of Arc is an example of a pushback of the divine feminine,
totally
trying to create
100%. Absolutely.
And as soon as they didn't need her, then it became, she's a witch, let's burn her at the stake and destroy this powerful representation of the divine feminine. Dude. But Yahweh, war god, 100%. Dude, the fucking Jews were a nomadic in their infancy too, a paganistic warrior tribe, nomadic warrior tribe, before they settled in a certain area. And so like, and those belief systems, if you go back to like the Kabbalists, are still to this day like highly connected to source, to earth, and like manifestation and things like that. So there's
totally
it came down to, I think, from my perspective, when the Hebrew tribes became, they were less empowered and they were being taken over and absorbed into other cultures, most especially Egypt.
Yes.
You can see the precursor, like you can see the precursor to Christ in the Egyptian pantheon and and
a lot of that stuff was like 100% cribbed and just repositioned. They were very clever about writing themselves into history. So just to do a little bit of savage talk real fast. You've heard of the Anunnaki, right? Son of Enki, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, son of Enki.
they hailed from a place called Nibiru, right? And then the Hebrews originally were called Hebrew, right? So all these tongues are very, very closely and very similar. Akkadian was actually one of the first Semitic languages, and a lot of those ideas, like kind of like how English absorbed Latin and stuff like that. The names and the places were translated into a new lexicon. And you're absolutely correct. They were enslaved multiple times, and they're absorbing elements and then just kind of recasting the story with their religious figures inserted into it. And then they called God Ella, right? That's a singular God. And then the
Mhm.
Islam's come along and called it Allah. It's the same sort of idea, and it goes back to
Well,
the same being. And here
go,
we go.
yeah, I mean, we'll go back to the precursor, the area in which, and I'm not completely on point probably with all of my description, but in
You're all right.
the genesis of Islam comes basically from, you know, Muhammad was a Jew, but he was one of a different type of Jew. There was like different types of Jews in that area where he grew up, and one, you know what I mean, there was like a fight for like, okay, I pray the way I pray is right, like no, the way I pray is right, you know, kind of like a circle of foot. It's like a circle with you, a narcissist, and you know other victims and other survivors in the same circle pointing at each other, going, "You're the narcissist," like the Spider-Man meme. You're the narcissist. You're the narcissist. But that's what they were doing. And so, like, the genesis of it was like Muhammad finding his connection or interpretation, and then breaking away from those Jews in such a way that Islam was then created. You know, and it's in its infancy, like Islam was not, I don't think, horrible, at least in the way that it was conceptualized, that belief system. It was the entire idea of, having to defeat or take over or conquer in that time also involved cultural and sometimes religious beliefs. So, so it became a holy war.
Well, Muhammad, as a warlord, he was able to translate his butthurt and his anger into something that his followers, you know, and especially if you're convinced that your warlord is divinely guided or inspired or ordered, and that the commands come from on high, and you start to gain victories and you start to gain ground. Those are very very primal things, and you mix them all together. Essentially, it was an establishment and a justification of a new culture. Because if you read the Quran, half of it is like talking about what Allah expects from Muslims, and then the other half of it is how to argue with people who are not Muslims.
Right. Exactly. So, all right, going back to the genesis of the creation of the belief system goes along that vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I pray better than you pray.
Right. My God has a bigger dick than your God.
Right. And to be fair, like that's true for every combative belief system. You know what I mean? Like every single one. But there were some that were more like, okay, go back to the basis of the Christian religion, Catholicism. And Catholicism is basically pagan Rome 2.0. And the way that pagan Rome did their thing was, these are our gods, these are our pantheons, you know, this is Roman. And then when they took over a province, there was an acceptance of the people's native beliefs, and there was also like this cross pollination that would happen. And so that you could look at Jupiter and Zeus, for instance, as the types of, both being the same types of father gods in a different interpretation.
Sure. Oh yeah, they got to Greece and they were enamored, and they were like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, those are actually our gods. Yeah, they were talking about it in Greek, but those are our gods. Yeah.
All right, and then you go, go 1,500 years into the future during the Christian invasions of pagan lands, and it was the same fucking thing, with the exception, I mean, there were some exceptions, but with one of the notable exceptions of the Viking belief systems, right, where it just was all on. Where it was like full on, you're completely wrong. Your traditions are completely wrong.
Yes.
And that was because the Vikings held out the longest in Europe.
Oh yeah.
You know, longer than anybody else. You know.
Oh yeah. It's like that thing from. Oh, real fast! It's that thing from Braveheart where it's like, if we can't get them out, we'll breed them out, and then they became absorbed. And actually, our English language contains so much Norse mythology, even like in the days of the week, man. People don't realize it.
Yep. Thor's Day, Woden's Day, Thor's Day, Frigga's Day. But if you look, and the reason that some of those things are saved is because in the early Christian expansion, they were more like the pagan Romans and how they expanded. So that's why we still have, you know, the holidays that we have. We still have the pagan holidays that we have, like Astara and Yule and those things.
Yes.
Why we still have Santa Claus is a freaking Germanic, you know, devil from Yule. You know what I mean? Like, we still have these things because like the early Christianity, they more acquiesced to the locals, than they did just come through with a hammer and a sword,
Well, and in some instances, Christianity cutesified some of those old traditions. Like if you didn't leave your shoes outside, the fucking Grendel or whatever would come and snatch your shoulder up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, like the one thing that I always try, like when I'm talking to people who are open enough to it, and I can either talk to someone in the vein of their pantheon as much as I know of it, or listen and learn. But that's why I like talking to people like Cameron Pasha, right? He's a Sufi Muslim, but he can meet you on a level where he understands your mythology and he respects it without it disrespecting him. And
totally,
when I talk to people like that, like I try and like just say, hey, look, we're all kind of like in the same family, and you don't really understand it, and it's a shame that you don't. But all of our traditions, like nobody's wrong and nobody's right. At the same time, we're all
have a
kind
piece
of
of the puzzle.
Exactly. So
we're all
real quick,
completely connected to source. Go ahead.
It's like 20 minutes in. I want to say hi to the chat. So I haven't said hi. We just started going off like we do.
Oh yeah.
CJ's in the chat. What's up, CJ? Greetings,
What's up,
bro. Good to see you. Let's see. Pop Cotton is in the chat. What's up, Hal Trans Fat?
What up,
Cotton Ministries. It's Cotton Ministries now.
The son of a preaching man.
The Church of Papa would be a fun fucking church, but you would have to have thick skin and know how to navigate around crazy bitches like that.
And you have to accept his criticisms of the women you find attractive too. Yeah.
Absolutely, and at the same time, because he would, and it's kind of like a self-shaming thing, I think, because Papa chases the same types of bitches like he does.
That's funny.
What's up, man? Hey, what's up, dude? Good to see you. I'm doing well. Good. Thank you for joining. I know that somebody from before. I can't remember the name that this account was before, but Hale, tell me in the chat because I forgot. I'm sorry. What CJ says: time heals all wounds and bridges can be built slowly. Yeah, well, dude, I was just like, I stopped through a stream with a rogue. A rogue was holding a stream, and I saw some people that I know were involved in the smear campaigns before, hung out with with her and all that stuff, and they were chill. Like everybody, there was no bad nothing. People in the chat were chill. Everybody was chill, and I was like, that is an awesome sign of growth, and we don't have to be buddies and exist in the same spaces. So I thought that was awesome, and so I just wanted to say,
you can be civil. And we often talk about this in the narc circle, how the ultimate final stage of healing is forgiveness. And it's not forgiveness as like, and I miss you and everything you did was okay, but it's more like, okay, I'm done with the energy. I release it to the universe. You're gone. I'm cool. You're cool. Whatever. It is what it is.
And that's
part of my
yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Like I went I had a spat with a narc that I just and it went of course it always goes further than it's supposed to when you're dealing with somebody who's grandiose and can't fucking stop themselves, and so I had to be the adult and close the door. Like, okay, we're going into the realm of lying and digging into pasts, and that means you're manic and you have to go now. But there's a big difference between dealing someone with a narcissistic personality or full-on NPD and dealing with people who react in have toxic reactions or may like that low vibrational fucking conflict, and shit. And so I understand that because I understand that because I got a little bit of that in me. You know what I mean? Like it's who I am, and I accept that. But it like sometimes we get into fights where it's just like we need to be right because we've had that position for so long, even if we discover that we have been wrong or we saw something differently or the other, something's changed.
My dick has to win.
Right, my dick has to win, and I'm just not there. I'm not there anymore. I'm not gonna stop or talk shit. I'm not gonna stop anybody or talk shit. Like I've never been the type of person to be like that, with very few exception. Like talk to someone else and be like, yo, so and so is like this, but I can't. I'm not saying I haven't done that, but it's not
harboring
necessary.
Those feelings keeps the construct in place, and as long as you're feeding into that idea, it's gonna continue to energize and become real. I mean, that's the secret of manifestation, Stephen. You know this as a magician. you focus your will until your will becomes manifest, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, signaling to the universe that you're obsessed with getting somebody back is going to cement it into your reality. But releasing it, letting it go, letting those people know that they are, you have been caused to mean nothing to me in my life.
Right.
You can just exist over there, do your thing. I'm not going to play anymore. Right.
Right. And when you're talking about the case of people with narcissistic personality disorder or any type of disorder that is dependent upon constant conflict for validation, external validation. Like there's a difference between dealing with that and just shutting the door, because when you shut the door and you don't matter to me anymore, that hurts them. That's like it's amazingly enough, because when you're dealing with someone who's just toxic or is just like angry or like some other like variation of damage inside them that's unhealed that causes them to think negatively and low and vibrate lowly in low places, then like depending on the type, that silence could be just taken as a piece that can be bridged. That there can be some type of acceptance where there's no need to fight. There's no need to fucking argue or talk down to or at or anybody.
Right.
So that's just like I'm thinking on that vein. I'm coming from the premise of everybody can change, and sometimes we see things differently, and that some people, for whatever reason, may have still be harboring some type of hate, but have seen my growth, the connection that I've had with the audiences that I have, what I'm doing now, and may be able to understand at this point. Maybe Walton was just reckless because he was constantly being abused and was not in the right headspace, and is now cool and actually was going through these things and knew what he was talking about.
Oh yeah.
And I'm cool. I'm good. I'm cool, man. No need to bring it up. No need to talk about it.
Right. I was convinced, and I saw this stuff like a year and a half ago, man. Like I sensed the shift in you. I know you got rid of the person who was, hoovering off of you. And I perceived that you were once again fuck-withable, right? So here we have been ever since. And that's the thing. Yeah, there were people who had some hurt feelings, but if you don't feed that wolf, it's not gonna grow. You just kind of like accept what it is as it is. People are who they are, and you just allow them to be, and that's fine. I can do my thing over here. That is completely fine.
So I look at it like I'm just another human on this planet, right? So there was things that I learned and I've owned up to and I've had to understand. So like one of those things was while I was going through that and I was in reactive abuse and I was in that conflict constantly, that you may have said or done something that was out of alignment with my true character. And I could, and when you're in that state, people see what they see. And even if they're not projecting, you can make a fair judgment and assess like the condition of the person enacting those things. And so like, I just know, I get it. We all can change. And we all grow, and hopefully we all grow and change in our perspectives. So if that has happened, like understand anybody that is out there that is around or making inroads around people that I still talk to and associate with. Like I'm not going to go to anybody and go, yo, don't fuck with that person. I don't play those games. You know what I mean? Like, do your
thing. Don't need to police anybody else. Yeah, experience it for yourself. Maybe you'll have a better experience or a different experience than I did. If you. Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's cool. There's some funny comments in the chat.
Okay, well, all right, we're gonna get to it. Yeah, it's all right. We'll keep going because we're gonna bullshit. Let's see, Mike. MC Mike does in the chat. What is up, MC Mike does? Good to see you. Gallup says if Joan was alive today, she would be diagnosed schizophrenic. Right, exactly. Because she had a strong connection to source and she was snapping into the 4D. Like that's what.
I wonder what Joan of Arc would think of third wave feminism.
She'd be slaughtering these bitches, is what
she would. She'd stick a sword down their throat.
Absolutely, man. What's up, Josh? Good to see you. He says that's right. He says, let's see. The 4 years of this monitoring bullshit that it's been heavy. It's been heavy over the last 2 years, 24/7. These are thousands of people I've never even met watching me nonstop. It's fucking nuts. Josh, listen, consider it an honor. Consider yourself blessed. If you've got people that are still fucking trying to gaslight you and hate on you and shit, that's because you're being authentic. You're doing something right.
Must be a powerful motherfucker.
Right, dude. Right. You think, what? Every time. Listen, I'm not trying to give this dude any fuel, right? But the guy that I had a little bit of a fucking spat with, not too long ago. This dude literally kept coming at me with fake accounts, like sock puppet accounts and shit that he had made to troll their people over and over and over again, to act as if his smear campaigns were like working or something. And I was just like, block. Like, what power you have as a person, especially over someone with a personality disorder or like heavily toxic, that they are manically stalking and trying to fuck with you, and you don't care.
Imagine?
Like. Yeah. What fucking power?
All of this time and effort and energy just to rub your ass in someone's face. I mean,
man. Yeah.
Where's your
CJ,
actual life? Yeah, go ahead.
CJ says, shout out to Drew. Fourth wave sticks together and you got to stay on the battlefield. Yeah, Drew's been going through it, and it's his cycle. I've talked to him quite a few times in the last year and a half, and it's sad to see. It's a shame to see, right? Because Drew is one of the early people that called out what was going on because, he was rogue.
Yep.
He was one of the, what my ex was and what was going on and all that and shit. And then it's like, this is the difference between viewing something externally and then feeling something internally. Because externally, he was able to see it. And then internally, he wasn't when the same type of woman approached him and got him caught up in his own narcissistic relationship, right? So, and I recognized that when I tried to talk to him, because he was humble enough to reach out to me and ask me about covert narcissism and what was going on, because that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I tried to help him as much as I could, but when you're in it, you're in it. And so it was like this weird reversal.
Different when it's happening to you, totally.
Right. And then here I am, like on the other end of it, you know what I mean? Because there was falling outs that happened. There was, stuff that happened during that time, which it happened. But like here I am trying to help my brother who, wasn't entirely there for me when I went through what I went through. And as a matter of fact, got butt hurt and joined like the other side of the people that split away from me. But at the same time, I'm like, I see what you're going through and I know what you're going through. It's like, I have to give you some advice. Like I have, and you came to me for it. But that has led him down a spiral that I know damn well, because I have survived it, that he will come up stronger than he was before. And he will come up and know his worth and have a better understanding of himself. And if he does it right, he's going to heal and realize his own toxicities and the things he has to change. And then we're going to see Drew out there on his fucking channel doing what he was born to do, which is political commentary and growing that channel. Because that's what he's built to do. That's what he's good at. And I can't wait for that moment to happen.
Well, I miss streaming with the guy. We had a good show called Midnight Prison, which was a little bit more contemplative than the Savage show. The Savage show is stated from the perspective of an experiencer, whereas Midnight Prison was more like a this could be real, this could be not. What do you guys think? And then, of course, the United Resistance, man, he had a strong channel, and every week, and he was pulling in celebrity guests and things like that. It goes to show the power that narcissistic people can have over kind-hearted people, and especially if you don't know the signature characteristics or energetic signature of narcissists. I met one the other day, and she could only stand talking to me for about 2 seconds, and then she asked me to kindly, get out of her establishment. So you raise your vibration high enough, they can't even tolerate your life.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, we're going to talk about that tonight because I wanted to about your energetic vibration, how you manifest people into your life, and how you why people change as you grow. But we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Sounds good.
What is up, Dak Poet? Good to see you. Deborah Cohen, the Dragonstorm secretary. What is going on? Let's see. The LD. Oh my God. LD, what happened to that guy trolling you? I don't know. I haven't watched. I haven't looked, because that's what they want. When you close, So part of narc slaying is something that like is it has been an evolving philosophy. But basically, once you're done clowning them and they get into that frenzied state of especially if you're dealing with like a real NPD, like full-on NPD, someone who is like now spending money and resources to search your past and look for anything to hurt you because you're calling them out for exactly who they are and what they're doing, and it's fucking obvious, and they've played every fucking move that you said they were going to do because you knew they had NPD and you knew how they go. So they're looking for some way to value you. And so once he got to that point, I just shut the door. Don't look. I don't care. Doesn't matter how many mutual monkeys, doesn't matter how many sock puppet accounts come at me. Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. You don't mean nothing. You don't mean nothing. So honestly, at this point, I have no idea. He could be frothing at the mouth over on his channels and bugging out and fucking doing smear campaigns and talking shit. And that's just to me, all right, if I may say, really does spell that male narcs need something up their ass. Like they love things up their ass. And when they encounter a masculine man, all right, then they look at that man and they hate them so much because they want to suck their dick. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault that they want to suck it. They're thirsty and they can't stop that salvation. And so they just have to get your attention by hurting you like a female.
Yeah.
You know, like a female would.
Like it's so upset they want you to like physically dominate them, you know, and hopefully something accidentally slides up their butthole.
Slides up their ass. It's like, I hate you, daddy. I hate you. Like,
exactly, right.
So,
show me how narcissistic I am. Shit, right?
Like, listen, toxic people can be an endless source of joy. But when you're dealing with like full-on NPD types or sociopathic types, then it's like, especially psychopaths, it's a whole other level. And at some point, you've got to just shut the door and say, no, you've got to stay outside in the rain. I'm not fucking with you. So I honestly don't know. I don't care. While I have, and he, you know what, he's probably gotten off because he definitely is monitoring on my socials. That's what these hoovering hobgoblins do. But he may have thought that like, oh yeah, waiting for a mention. Look, he stopped posting as much. I must be getting to his head. Nobody. I was having fucking sex at random for the last few weeks and working while I wasn't, and I had a great fucking time not thinking about you. And I'm sorry to say that my penis was in someone that wasn't you, and she absolutely loved calling me daddy and being told what to do. So that's where I was, and I appreciate you. But I don't give a shit.
Right. Yeah, we have some lovely parting gifts for you in the Losers Lounge.
The Losers Lounge. Hang out with the sidekicks fucking shack. That's where you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Squeaka? How are you, sweetie?
Hey,
love having a chance to talk to Squeaka. We had a nice long conversation. Roman of the Empire kind of hooked us up, and Squeaka is
such
even
a nice
more,
heart, man. Yeah,
she's even more incredible. She's even more incredible, like on a personal level, than she is in all of our chats. And the only time that I was trying to tell her, I'm going to say this one thing, Squeaka. I was trying to teach her that you have to say no sometimes. And the only time in the conversation that she would say no was when I told her she had to learn to tell people no. So I don't think she got the lesson. I don't think she understood.
The Earth will go around the sun a couple more times. You know, you'll have another chance. Yeah. But seriously, Steven, we're surrounded by angels, man.
We are.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've enjoyed, and you've added to this countless times, has been raising my own resonance and my awareness, and in a space of education, wisdom, healing, and growth that has attracted so many wonderful people in the Dragonstorm community, especially Dragonstorm YouTube. This is the home. I may put a lot of stuff out. I may be working a lot on TikTok and Instagram, and that's because I'm trying to build all the platforms together. And I love the entire Dragonstorm community, but this is my home. You guys are you guys in this chat are the ones I sit down at the dinner table with and break bread with. Like, you're my family, and I love you.
Absolutely. You guys keep us going. You really don't understand. Yeah,
man.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see. All right, we dipped. There's Erica. What's up, Erica? Good to see you. Yeah. So you can LOL all day long, sweetheart. So yeah, energies and shit. Going back to that concept, I have in my chats, bro, right? So there has been there's a big difference that I've noticed, because like I feel energies, I feel, I'm psychic, dude, and
of course
my ability has like opened up a lot since I have begun coaching people, talking to people, exercising my, like the empathy, that empathetic part of my abilities. And like, it's opened my mind to so many different things, up including like full on fucking telepathy with someone who, like, back and forth communication through thought, which is an experience I had never had and is not what I thought it was. Like for me, I don't know if it's different for anybody else, but it's not like when you watch it on TV or in movies, it's like people hearing words in their head, like another person's voice in their head.
Right.
But it's not like that. It's like,
it's not.
Okay. It's almost like you're using your imagination. It just activates. You're not using it, but your imagination activates. And then you hear a person talking, or in you, like imaginatively. That is what it has been like for me.
Your intuition uses the same faculties as your imagination. And one's external and one's internal, even though we're all one and all that kind of stuff. So just to get extremely basic for people who might not get this, everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. If you're religious, the holy text said God spoke and light happened, so sound came before light. Frequency. There's a science called cymatics, where they take a vibrating plate and put sand on it, and depending on the frequency they play, the sand arranges itself in different patterns. And you even find in Tibetan temples and stuff, you'll find those patterns woven into mandalas, So everything we think, everything we say, everything we do sends off a vibration. And the only thing that the psychic is able to do that the layperson is not, is they're able to interpret those vibrations in a very personal and very specific way. Everybody's psychic gift is unique and individual. And it's just like I can see auras as like colors around people. Steven can feel auras as energy coming at him, and you can use similar processes to affect the energies that leave you and kind of play with the ones out randomly in the universe. But in order to understand or quantify anything we're saying, you must understand everything is frequency. Right?
Absolutely. Like the frequency of Squeak is saying she learned to say no, proud of you. Proud of you. You got to control that people pleaser. About. I had to control that people pleaser. It's a tough road. It's hard to do, but sometimes like we feel hurt from someone else and we internalize it more than we should, especially if we're intuitive, very sensitive. And that's something I had to learn to get over, because like you said, I feel auras as energy off of other people. And so like, also words, okay, the written word, the spelled words are also magic.
Incantations.
They are incantations.
Absolutely.
So
there are spells that are in effect from Egypt still to this day, because they've never been undone. You have a specific ritual to set it up, and unless that person or somebody trained in that discipline undoes it, it's gonna fucking stay there.
I've actually got a question for you from the same person that I had you talk to 2 weeks ago about her extraterrestrial experience. And
absolutely.
We'll do that. We'll do that in a moment. And I'm going to ask her, she's in the chat. Like, is it okay if I ask him the question about the Egyptian experience that you had? So anyway, as I'm going through the comments and I read the words, like I can feel the energy coming off of them. And it's very distinctive between someone commenting, asking a question, or someone who's like looking to troll, or looking to, or like is a narcissist or is a toxic person that's putting something down. And that also extends out into the spiritual realm, because spiritual narcissism is absolutely a thing. That guy, the troll, the narc guy that I was, fucking with a couple weeks ago, he is a born again Christian, right? He's the born again Christian, so he can't be evil. He can't.
That's wonderful for him. Yeah,
right.
Of course.
Spiritual narcissism is a thing. A faith is, and it can manifest anywhere in anybody in any different way. I was talking to one client who's narc X. Pretends to be a spiritualist, like a crystal and Reiki type spiritualist, and he's like fucking evil, stalking, hoovering hobgoblin, but So like the spiritualism or faith is a shield that people can use to say I am virtuous while at the same time extolling toxic doing toxic things and being toxic and creating separation and the like. And so like there's this big difference between people who like look at this, like when I release spells, especially on Instagram, this happened. People who look at it and they come through and they say like the only power I need is Jesus Christ, or the only, my savior, and right? That is a state. That's a declaration. That person felt they needed to make that comment because that's their faith. They're not
It's a statement of intent, right?
The statement of intent. That's not being aggressive. That's not being toxic. That's not being an asshole. And I will actually say amen to those people. Like amen. You know what I mean? Because I understand what they're saying. Then there's the people
That's
that
the
come
Egyptian
through.
deity you want to salute at the end of your prayer.
No, I don't go into that. I don't go into Amen Ra. I do not go into Amen Ra. I don't do that because that would be an asshole. Like that would be no. But I return it with like a respect of their faith. Like you felt you needed to make this declaration, and it wasn't an attack on my faith. And I was like, but thank you for commenting, and amen. And then there's the ones that are just like, oh, so you're into demon witchcraft, Jesus Christ, amen. And that's a spiritual narcissist. That is a person who takes their faith, literally takes the message of a God of peace, which is what Christos, what Yahshua was, and then takes this message of peace, puts it through the filter of Catholicism and whatever Christianity they've dealt with, and then turns it into the expansionist war god, turns it into my God's bigger than your God. That's a spiritual narcissist. I don't have. They get the Amen Ra.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you just look those people straight in the eye and say, real Baphomet has tits.
right. Do you have your Easter bonnet on this year? Did you go to the ritual orgy? Did you? You know what I mean? Like, let me bust out the fucking facts on you if you're gonna be like that. But that's the only time, like when I was a young pagan, honestly, like when I was a young Wiccan, when I was a young pagan, like absolutely, like every single Bible toting person, it didn't matter if they were coming from a place of peace.
Like, fuck you. This is back when Steven was an angry lesbian.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Fucking hand up, limp wrist in the air, hail the mother. Like all that toxic goddess-headed bullshit. Yeah, absolutely. But I got to a point, and I've been here for a long time, but I just got to a point where I was like, these are all aspects of the divine, and we're all here for one specific purpose. Connect with source in a certain way. And if you're not going to wave your dick at me, like you're better than me, being a toxic piece of shit, because your God's got a bigger dick, I'm cool. I'm cool with you. It's
like going back to that comment that you said about your buddy who was a Sufi Muslim, right? You can be square in your spiritual understanding and still respect another's spirituality, even if you're not adherent to that ethos. There's things that Steven understands about casting that I do not, and I don't get that, and I don't practice the same way, but I respect him as a spiritual being and that's the definition of namaste, is the divine in me sees the divine in you and says, what's up?
Yeah, dig it. Yeah. Before we get into this next part that Josh has, so there's nuts how narcs can see and sense your magnetic aura and force field. And that is because, so first off, I am of the opinion that we are all psychic. I think that psychic, that term, the sixth sense, is one of our senses. It's one of our many senses. We don't just have five.
Absolutely.
You have a sense of balance. Right. Yeah. And so you have, everyone has these. When a narcissist is hyper aware of what is going on around them, hyper observant because of their narcissistic shell and the external validation that they require. They study people. They look for a certain energetic frequency in someone that they can, and this is all instinctive, that they can vibrate with and then use and abuse, and it's one of the reasons why broken people, or not maybe broken, or just like codependent, anxiety driven, fearful, like people who have not found their full worth, for whatever reason, whatever they went through in life or however they grew. Like that's why those types of people actually manifest narcissists and narcissists manifest them, because opposites attract, but like also attracts. So I know that's confusing. Okay, like attracts like in a and a, oh God, tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think I got this reversed. Like attracts like in the 4D, whereas opposite attract in the 3D, or is it reversed?
I don't perceive that to be a 4D thing. I think like attracts like quicker in 4D.
Okay.
And then slower here because it's literally dense. You know, it takes time for thoughts to coagulate. There are higher realms where what you're saying is correct, but I think by that time, beings inhabiting those planes understand intimately the creation process. Whereas even on 3D, like on other planets, they get it and they practice it. But on this planet, we've been fucked with and had paradigms introduced and control systems
You went
astral. That's what I do, Steven.
I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I get. Yeah, no, yeah. I love your experience, perspective, wisdom. You fucking alien. But when it comes to we as the tribe of Gaia, when it comes to we as like human beings, we have right. We have we're in the 3D, but because we have spirit, we're also connected to 4. We kind of like bridge into 4. And
all the way up to
are,
12 in some cases. Yeah.
Was just about to bring that up. Thank you very much. So,
brother.
My psychic grow. So the reason that the narcissist will attract people who are broken and broken will attract narcissistic is because they're both broken. The difference between those two people, those two individuals, is depending on the level of toxicity in the quote unquote broken person. They both have like abandonment issues. They both have issues that are like one another. And whereas the narcissist is using that as to create a narcissistic shell, they're escaping healing that. They're trying to exasperate it, and they're trying to cause more pain in others so that they A, don't feel alone in their pain, B, have a feeling of control over someone else because they have none over themselves. That resonance comes to let's just say an empathic person, to a broken empath who is feeling that pain, and because they people pleaser in them, they want to heal the narcissist. So they're engaged in this battle. These two forces. One is trying to just hurt the other is just trying to heal the other, and they're both enacting almost the same types of activities because of the abuse cycle the narcissist begins. And also the toxic responses and insecure responses that come from the broken person. So it is a back and forth battle. It's a spiritual battle in that way. And the differences are, as far as I can see, this. The broken person is trying to heal, and their spirit team is screaming at them, yo, heal. And the narcissist has ignored their spirit team. Their angels, their guides have all just said, we give up. And they are vibrating at such a low frequency that they invite negative entities into their life. And so at some point, depending on how dark, how evil the narcissist is actually like blessed by the devil, like literally blessed by the devil with the ability to be charming, to have like the social understanding, how to manipulate people, that psychopathic aspect. And they also have, these demonic abilities because the demons in them want to create chaos and keep chaos going. And so they will innately know. That's how a narcissist knows after they've ghosted you when to come back. When you're like at that halfway point, or that point where you're ready to break away and you're ready to get out of the cycle, they will instinctively know, I have to go get control over this person again and love bomb them again. That's why they freak out when you're at a point where you see them for who they are and you're like, fuck this person. And they create a grand discard to get as much fuel as they can or to get you back under control. That is the demonic aspect of who they are. And that's why they can sense and manipulate and magnetize and all those things. That Josh
to relate this to like an aura or energy field experience, people with that sort of energetic damage can only derive energy from another person with a different type of specific energetic damage. And this is a person who's willing to bleed their chi away into somebody else who is happy to exploit that. And it's funny because like that's desperately what they seek, but at the same time they act like when you give that to them, it doesn't fucking matter. So you're left doubting yourself. You're like, yeah, I'm giving, and this person's just, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like two damaged energy matrices. When you have a healthy energy matrix, those type of people are actually repulsed by you. And you were talking about that earlier, Stephen. One of the things I do before I go to sleep and before I go out into the world is I send out an intention. Only beings of light will enter my sphere, and anybody who is not of light will be dismissed. And you know what? It fucking works every single time.
It does. And and when you encounter those people, they will be disgusted. They can't help but be that angry, toxic side of them. And they're trying to repel you because you are repelling them.
Absolutely.
And because the difference between light and dark, and take this from a person who understands more than I ever have, that I'm a light and shadow worker, and that my true strength is balance. Is that if you are in the light, and even the light has toxic degrees, I might add. If you are in the light, and then you are casting away shadow. And so anybody who lives in the shadow self or deeply in the dark self, then whenever they see someone like that, they can't help but react because they're being seen, or they feel like they're being seen.
Yeah. Well, Darth Sidious, he says, in order to understand the true mystery, one must
understand all the aspects. Yeah. And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
No, and it's funny because he sat there for 20 years or whatever it was, watching Yoda, and just being pissed off the entire time. And finally they had to fight. And in that particular, and hiding it. Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We still need to do this one day to like analyze Darth Sidious.
You're on my level.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of thing. Stay tuned to this channel, folks.
I swear to God, dude, the whole time I kept trying to interrupt you, and I apologize for that, was to say exactly that, which was we have got to do that because Darth Sidious, the Emperor, is a fucking psycho, malignant narcissist. Like, that is such a perfect example of a narcissist.
No redeeming quality.
No redeeming qualities at all. He has the charm and the ability. The dark side of the Force clouds everything. And like in that aspect of the narcissist, the malignant narcissist, he was putting on that charm, that fake face, that, convincing people to do his bidding from like a place of saying it was good, but it was actually maneuvering and manipulation. And, eventually it got and the closer it got to the point where he was ready to finally execute his master plan, you look at the story itself in episode 3. And how the untangling happens energetically, like between the characters, and like just the narcissist exposing himself and then just coming out full-fledged against, Yoda, who was, I guess he was, in that respect, the ultimate empath. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so,
well, as a light avatar of the Force, he wouldn't even go near the dark side. And I'm not saying that you can peer into the dark side without going dark, but because he failed to do that,
This is the thing. I love Yoda. Don't get me wrong. I love Yoda.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going Star Wars for a minute. I love Yoda, but if you look at Mace Windu, who's my fucking man, I love Mace Windu. He was a force for good, right? An angel with one wing dipped in blood, which to me is like a true warrior angel, because he understood the dark side and he knew how to reflect it and mirror it and mirror it back and all the stuff that he could do.
Make it work for him.
Make it work for him, right? Who was the first person to look at Anakin and go, nah, Mace?
Exactly.
Who was the one that monitored and didn't trust him completely the whole time, no matter how light side Anakin was doing? Mace. Right. Who was the first one to fight Sidious? Mace. Like he knew, because he had a balance between the light and the dark, and chose because he understood it to be a force for good.
Absolutely.
And that's why, like, I love Mace. That's why you'll see me using Mace Windu fighting the Emperor, like in certain things, because I understand the light and the dark.
I want you to reach in that bag and hand me the lightsaber. Hand me my lightsaber. Which one's yours? It's the one that says "bad motherfucker" on it. And you know it does. He probably has BMF like engraved in the handle somewhere.
CJH Entertainment for $5 Canadian. Thank you so much, brother, for
Thank you,
supporting the
Steve.
channel. I greatly appreciate that. He says, can one separate themselves from negativity and create an entity? Because I wonder if the violent entity I have was my old self and does need to chill. Okay, so
That's a very
before-
interesting question. Go ahead, Steve.
yeah, before Immortal Coil fucking throws his whole spiritual fucking pipe into this one. I know it's about to, I'm going to say that. So, being raised in the environment that I was and having what I had, like I was raised by a narcissist, and then understanding what that parental figure did in me. Exasperated fight or flight, which eventually turned into full on fight. That's why I would always fight. Back in the day, that's why I would always fight. Because like the fight or flight in me was unregulated, and I would always go into fight mode to survive. And also the other aspects of being raised by a narcissist, what it created like in my behavior and in my personality. When I started going through the Dragonstorm thing and then researching NPD and researching toxic behaviors and looking at, all narc abuse survivors go through the checklist, because at one point we're all like, am I the narcissist? Am I the narcissist? Am I really the narcissist? Mm-hmm. And we all go through the checklist. And when I went through the checklist, there were like 2 boxes that were like, oh my God, I do that and I do that, out of all of them. And so I had to look at me and my own toxic behaviors, learn myself. And what really helped me along my road, aside from learning to control my emotions, do not be reactive, and other things, was talking to a psychic medium, Jory Lynn. And Jory Lynn did a meditation with me where she removed something that had been with me since childhood. It was a dark entity that I used to protect myself. And that dark entity was the fight mechanism in me. And so once we did that, I have not had a fit of anger. I have not gone into rage. I have not, none of that has happened with me since then. And it's because the entity that I had attracted or that had become part of me in the environment that I grew up in, was removed. So when you separate yourself from anything that has attached itself to you, or you have invited in without realizing it, that is dark. Your matrix of self will change. Your behaviors still have the potential to become an unregulated version, but it's not losing part of you. It's losing something that was keeping you that vibrational state. So that kind of does qualify as an old self. You're always your authentic self, CJ. You're always the soul, the spirit inside of you, right? That is enfleshed in this existence. But there are many other factors involved, including upbringing, genetic memory and history, environments, and your own decisions in how you affect yourself in your world, how you perceive things, how you act. All of these have an impact on who you are. When you choose to walk the light, when you choose to vibrate higher, when you on a higher vibration, choose to look at the positive, choose the high road, and all your fifis, you can separate those things from you, and you will literally feel like a weight has been lifted. Right. And so you do change into someone else.
That's because your vibration's changing. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So I would suggest that if you feel that way, talk to a medium, talk to a psychic who is connected to the 4 or 5D that can see those things, and get some assistance in having that removed from you. Because I'll tell you what, Archangel Michael and Raphael are right there to help you whenever you need them. You just have to call them and know how to tap into that vibration. And with that, I pass it off to Immortal Coil.
Well, thank you. That was actually pretty fucking astute, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Hail. So I kind of want to start this off by giving a teaser for what's going to be on the Savage program tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about conjuring and a little bit about spirit guides and things like that. So
I'm so into tonight.
I know, dude. That's why I was my tail's wagging for that, because that's right up Steven's alley, right? So tune in tonight. That's going to be 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or what is that, 1 a.m. out where you are, dude?
2 a.m. out East
2
Coast.
a.m. out on East Coast. And then this is also the show that our international audience on the other side of the planet can, get together and check out. That'll be over on my channel. We'll post the link in the description and all that kind of stuff. So without like totally spoiling that topic, as a mage, right? You summon, you can summon entities. Now, there are certain entities that exist out there, and you can invite them into your sphere and say, "Hey, what up?" Or you can keep them away from you with whatever. But there's also this thing where you can collectively create something that acts like an entity, even though it doesn't really have a basis in the physical historical record. So what do I mean by that? You have a being that the story of Lucifer was based on, and you have a being that the story of Satan was based upon, and then Beelzebub, and all these things kind of became synonymous with each other, even though these are all distinct, separate entities. But what ends up happening is this idea of Satan, as it happens in Christianity, that Satan doesn't exist like on a throne, like like on that show Lucifer. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
But because millions of people believe in that guy, that energy is held. That space has been created by the collective will, and entities can and do come through and use that energy to fuck with fleshies. So yes, that does happen. You can become a slave to your own inept thought processes as well, because all your thoughts alter your energy system. So if you create a disperception in yourself, then
Secondary.
that will be, that's exactly. Thank you, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You're
a
welcome.
great word for it. And it creates a lens through which you misperceive the universe, and you allow for that thing to come to you. And indeed, it's kind of like an invitation. So I second Stephen's idea. If you have a talented psychic that you trust that isn't full of shit that can help you with that, by all means seek it out. And then also educate yourself too. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or I mean, I'll send you the link for her. Like I'll send you her link. She's incredible. Like Jory, the first time I talked to Jory was during the second time I came up north to fight for the Narcissists. Oh God, what a fucking idiot. And she told me everything that was going to go down. She told me all of it. And I saw it and observed it and didn't take her advice. And everything that she said fell down. And the second time I talked to her was when I was really breaking away last year, last fall. And she, again, I told her about everything. And she just like, it went from like reading my cards, spirit, type of thing, to just, all right, we need to do this. I know what you need, and because she had entities in her early life. She actually had dealt with narcissists. She knew what NPD was. And so she understood energetically like where I was and what was going on, and then helped me to remove that thing. And the honest damn thing is, Immortal, like I don't want to talk too much about this, but when the initiation for the grand discard happened, when the Christmas Hoover and then the birthday Hoover.
Okay.
The Christmas Hoover, like my spirit guides were so fucking upset that I'd let her back in, even though it was just like observing her. Like I remember my kitchen caught on fire, all this crazy shit went out. And then my spirit guides left. My spirit guides actually just left my side.
Oh yeah,
like my angels.
Oh yeah, they'll totally give you the frying pan and be like, all right,
you. All right, you want to do this
go
again?
Fucking
all right,
play in the fire.
Well, we're not going to help you.
Yeah,
go ahead. Right. And
it's
then
like
when
Ben
that happened,
Kenobi, when Luke went to go rush off and fight Vader, he's like, look, if you do this, I cannot help you. You're going to go do that shit by yourself.
Right, exactly. Right. Great fucking reference. And so
yes, sir.
at the same time, guys, I felt that thing. I felt that dark thing. I felt that dark entity. Jorian said, if you run back in these cycles, then there's a potential for this to come back. And it did momentarily until I said no and handled the situation really well. And then did a video that got like 40,000 views that brought this channel back to life. And that's why I do what I do now again.
Yep.
And so, but by the time the grand discard happened, And I was like, no, 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 you know, because I just was not dealing with it anymore. I was not dealing with the situation. I knew how to turn off the phone. I knew how to respond. You know, you're not going to get me upset. I'm going to go now. Okay. Look, you got to do what you got to do. And if you have this person in your life, there's no way that we can ever be friends. So I'm just going to let you go and just hang up the phone. You know, that created a grand discard. At that point, like, my angels did not give up on me because I was standing up for myself. It was coming at me and I was standing up. So yeah, really, it all comes down to energies, and it all comes down to knowing thyself, controlling thyself. I want to get back to the chat here in a minute, but real quick, I would too acknowledge Erica had said it was okay for me to say this. So I wanted to get your opinion on this because for me, I had a certain impression, but I wasn't clear on what I felt. So, so Erica is one of us, and she, you know, she was the woman you spoke to about the extraterrestrial experience.
Spoke with on the phone. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. And so she was telling me about this. She has the ability that dreams and comes to her to see past lives. And there's something
her own or other
that's
people's?
Her own. There's this thing she told me about this time that I believe has something to do heavily with like a spiritual or karmatic block that she has, in which she says that
she incurred karma. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure. I'm going to ask. This is why I'm asking you.
I'm sorry.
I'm coming to you. No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
So, okay. The past life memory is that at one point she was Egyptian. She definitely was. Like, she absolutely was Egyptian at some point. And she was entombed. And when she was entombed, her spirit did not release for a very long time. It actually stayed in the tomb. Kind of like the Egyptians believe, you know, before they go on to the next realm. Yeah. But like, she says that she has like, she'll have nightmares like of this memory of being trapped, her soul being trapped in this sarcophagus and not being able to escape for a long time. Like, any thoughts on that or impressions?
Right away, the first impression that I got, like, even before you said anything, was that there was sealing magic involved. So I'm getting tingles right now. The impression that I'm getting is that she either made a forecast that never came to play, or pissed off the wrong person, or whatever, and they ritualistically sealed her in somewhere. And then that whole like belief system thing.
Holy shit!
You can make something real even if it's not true. It can become real in your head. And if the Egyptians believe that your ghost is going to be stuck there, you're going to be stuck there until you're open to the idea that maybe there's something else you can do.
Right.
So, yeah. And then all your past life experiences, those are still with you. And in some ways, especially the untidy parts, or the parts that we are meant to address in this current incarnation, they will manifest as physical problems in your body. And yeah, maybe sometimes they're nightmares, but they can turn into things like, you know, say you were alive in one of those fun little times where we used to impale people on spikes through their butthole and out through their mouth, right? Well, that can manifest as like problems inside, like especially your root chakra. That goes right up your fucking taint chakra, man. You know what I mean? So that's the impression that I get. I feel like you were probably ritualistically sealed, and you know they went and fucking said words outside the prepared space, and you were just sitting there going like fuck for long time, years and years.
I know. Erica, do you remember what I said? Do you remember what I said when you told me that and my impression? So, Coil, fucking incredible, dude. So what I said to her was that my impression was, when they would ritually bury someone, they would put spells on the tomb. You know what I mean? And one of those spells was done incorrectly or was intentionally put in as a sealing, as a containment spell. So, Erica, I'm fully, because fucking Immortal just said the same thing. So I think the reason that you keep having
two psychics just said the same thing to you.
Two psychics just said the same thing. So the reason that you keep going back to that time is because someone betrayed you. Someone contained your spell by a spell work in that place and trapped you there. and there's something that you need to do to get over that, or that spirit has incarnated in this life around you, and that is why
That
you
would
feel
be
that.
interesting. Yeah, I just
fully
got
believe that.
tingles when you said that. So
Yeah.
something else I would suggest is if you know where you were buried or you have a sense of where you're buried, meditate over that. If there's any part of you that's still stuck there, forgive yourself and release it. Allow yourself to emerge, bring yourself fully into the present, because that is valuable experience, of course, but everything that hangs us up robs us of our focus on the present and of the now.
Absolutely.
It's that's again, like Star Wars. George Lucas was really on one. When Yoda first sees Luke, he's kind of fucking with Luke to see like if Luke can pick up on the fact that he's a Jedi Master. And then finally he goes, you know what? I can't teach this guy. He's too angry. I watched him his whole life. He was never like where he was and what he was doing. He was always off on the horizon looking for adventure and excitement.
Right.
Luke finally became a Jedi when he started living in the moment and accepting what is as it is, and to the point where he was able to accept a Sith Lord as his father. And then not only that did he accept it, but he saw past it and had Anakin transcend that. That is what George Lucas did. Hail George Lucas.
Hail Lucas. We are so going to do Star Wars Narcissists. We are so going to do this. We have to. Real quick before I go back to Erica's answers. There's Bad Take Tina Bojan. There be rogues here, Tina.
Hey,
sorry
sweetie.
about
What's up?
We are definitely look, no matter where I am or what I'm doing, we're holding rogue next week, I swear. And I just honestly, I appreciate you, sweetheart. I have been so busy in the last couple of weeks. I was getting late and working a lot. So
Steven's dick was busy.
I needed to take a break. Yeah, I needed to take a break. It's just, it's what it was. So here, I want to go back to Erica's comments because, Erica, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on one second, sweetheart. I'm sorry. This is very important. So very important. And please excuse me, chat.
Okay.
Hi, Beth. How you doing, sweetheart? It's good to see you. I just want to let you know, I fucked up. I fucked up. I'm sorry. I was having sex with someone else, and it felt healthy, and it felt good, and I wasn't. But I want you to know that I really need you to let me know I'm a piece of shit. Like, please just step on me a little extra. Like, if you could send some like DMs enraged, like with a lot of toxic manipulations, and like just lie about whatever adventures you've been having to make me feel unworthy. If you could trigger my abandonment, I would really appreciate that, because I don't enjoy feeling as healthy as I do right now. And choo choo, baby, coming through. Good to see you, sweetheart. How are you, babe? Thank you so much for being here.
Hi,
my
man.
twin train, my original twin train wreck right there. So Erica says, I was stuck and I remember of the feeling of heaviness. It was sleep. And then she says, and I remember coming out of it and feeling so free. And that's what happened internally. But because I remember the hatred I felt towards them. So I would say that you have incarnated in this life around a like force or that force that did it to you, probably a narcissist of some type. And that might be why you've had such a hard time. I know that you had, raised by narcissists, have attracted narcissists your whole life, up till now. And that might be a reason energetically why. And it's triggering that memory because it's either it's a very like memory, or that same spirit has come into your current existence, your current enfleshed existence at this time.
Yeah, well, everything we do has an effect, and everything that we put out comes back to us. And especially in terms of like life trend, how do I say that? Karma that carries over from a past life into a current life. At the moment that you're no longer human and you're just like a spirit and you're kind of doing your soul review, whatever, you have an opportunity to look at the person who you either damaged the most or were damaged by, and then figure out how you're going to deal with that next time. Man, I had something else I was going to say about that, but oh, that's what it is. Okay, so here's a funny story, Stephen. I've done a lot of reading, of course. One of my favorite books was called Journey of the Soul, and I believe it was written by a guy named Dr. Newton. I can't quite remember, but somebody in the chat will. And one of the things that he did was he was one of the first past life hypnotherapists, like regressive, you know, we'll sit down on a couch and figure out your past life kind of thing. But unlike a lot of the people who were like in that fad when that sort of publication was really in the vogue, he didn't publish books right away. He started his practice in, I want to say, the late 50s, and he didn't write a single book until like 1989 or 1990, something like that. So he had like 40 years of case study. So it's not like he just like got a degree from Butthole University and decided to write a book. Like he built case studies. He did corroborative things. He made sure that he wasn't being fed bullshit by his clients, and established specific protocols about how to document and record all these things. Plus, he kept audio tape and transcripts and blah 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 blah. Now that's all just to say that he's an accepted field. The funny story that I had was one of the guys that he was regressing was coming to the end of a life where he was a pious Christian. However, in that incarnation's perspective, he thought he was a bad Christian and he was going to go to hell. And he was like, I'm going to go to hell. I'm going to go to hell. He died with fear on his soul. And he didn't end up going to hell. But what his guides did, and this is kind of their weird sense of humor, is they appeared to him, like once he shed the mortal coil, they appeared to him as like the face of Satan. And they were like, and he's like, oh my God, oh my God. But then they like turned back into themselves and they all just started laughing. And then, they take him to heaven or wherever and give him his memory back. And he's like, oh shit, what the hell is that all about? They all had a good laugh on the hereafter. Yeah. I'm glad I'm in a place where I can talk about stuff like this. Stephen, one of the things that I'm really grateful for is I don't have to edit myself around you. And when you introduced me to your friend, it was like right away a high vibration introduction. So I didn't have to do all the hi, how you doing? Can I test your fucking religious system? It was like, no, just from the go, I was able to be honest. That's what I love about this chat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of it's a hybrid chat. It's like I think that people know when it's you and me, when we're doing shows, it's like, we're talking about narcissism, but we're doing it in a way that it goes into all different kinds of other things and subjects,
Yeah. Well, when you see the energy, when you see experience as energy and vibration, it changes the whole perception of your of narcissism, because it becomes something different. It's not just about you and me and him and them. It's about the balance of energy, like the positive and the negative, how they want to ebb and flow into each other and how they participate with one another. But it also gives you the opportunity to take responsibility for yourself. It's not something that's done to you. It's something that you're doing in concert with somebody else. And if it feels good, you have the awareness that gives you the opportunity to stop it. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And I explain that, like, of course, a lot of this channel has been like through my own journey and experiences. And so I explain that as I learn it, and as I did learn it, that when I talk to clients about it, when we get to a certain point in our discussion or discussions, I always introduce that element of, so it is important for you to give this experience value, or you will recreate it in your life.
Yes.
Because if you don't understand what it was in you that manifested this demon into your life, then you're going to keep manifesting these types of people into your life. And it all has to do with the energetic vibration of who you are as an individual, your unhealed traumas, or half-healed, improperly healed, or outright ignored. Because if you don't fix those, then you're still going to be generating that, that underlying crack in the foundation of everything you try and do. And you're still going to attract these people. And, and it's not just, it's a psychological thing, of course, also very much so. So go to Vaknin, go to Grandin, go to any of those people that explain the psychological definitions of what's going on and those cycles, absolutely. But to me, the underlying issue is energetics. And if you are operating from a position of fear, if you are, if you have like abandonment, codependency, if you have fight or flight, if you have like, if any of these things are unchecked in you, they manifest themselves through your psychological behavior and energetically. So you can try and change how you think. And that's a beautiful thing. Try and change with mantras, the way you think, the way you value, the way you can do all those things. But if you don't do it in concert with that deep healing that needs to be done, then energetically, you're still moving from a place of fear and insecurity and lack of value in yourself. And you will therefore, that psychological work may have a great foundation, like a great system to changing who you are. But unless you change that deep stuff, there's always the chance for that random goblin to pop out of nowhere in your head and enact descriptive actions or thoughts which will distort your vision, distort your perception, create involuntary responses or reactions or actions that will again place you in a cycle of self-defeat, of abuse, of attracting people that are going to hurt you because you're trying to hurt yourself.
Yes.
And that's where it comes from. So it's so very important. Like, I get to a certain point with clients or anybody that I'm talking to where it's just like, if you can't do that deep work on your own, then go see like a psychiatrist, go see a therapist, go see someone who is designed to have you face and overcome, heal, deal with, transmute into yourself those traumas so that you can become your authentic self. That is the mission. That is the lesson when dealing with narcissists or any other type of toxic trash that you keep inviting into your life, or they just keep coming at you. I hear people all the time in my comments going, I think the whole world is like this. I think that everybody's like this. I'm afraid to talk to anybody, this and that. And I'm like, well, that is because everybody that you have brought into your world is narcissistic or psychopathic because you're not, you're sending out that signal. Like, please come and teach me the lesson I need. And that's why, like, to a certain degree, I'm like, thank you, Narc X, because you were the indestructible wall I needed to break my head up against in order for me to fucking destroy myself so I can learn these things. Thank you. Like, I love you from a distance. I appreciate you. Can't deal with it again, but thank you very much for the lessons. Now I'm moving on.
Absolutely. Yeah. When we, to once again bring this to a incarnational perspective, before you're born, you make agreements with people and you're like, okay, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be this person this time. And I'm going to need to experience this. Who can help me? And then somebody else can step up and be like, hey, when I'm down there, I'm going to be doing this. So if that's what you need, we can figure out a time to get together and see if that's what you still need. And then that's why when we meet certain people, we're either drawn to them or they shake our world, or there's just something about you. I just have to come down and talk to you. What are you? Who are you? And then you play out your dynamic. Yeah.
And the dynamic that I set, which was crazy, it was the dynamic I set was very early on, like we'd known each other for 25 fucking years, but it was very early on. This karmatic cycle was set where where basically the agreement made between myself and that other person, my spirit and their spirit, was, if I get to this certain point in my life and I haven't learned these lessons, would you fucking destroy me? Would you help me destroy myself? Like there's something to that effect. So if I had learned those lessons by the time that point had come, which was when I was 42, then when I met them again or saw them again, I would have recognized behaviors. I would have recognized what was going on, and I would have said no, thank you, and I would have went the other direction.
Yeah, your field would have pushed them out of your sphere. It's in some cases it's instantaneous. People will talk to you for 2 minutes and then be like, I can't be near that person.
But the opposite happened, and that was because of a level of unchecked grandiosity and me not healing myself, because I was the best version of myself, but I was the best like unhealed version of me at that time. And I thought I could fix this person. And the whole idea of I can fix this person because I'm doing so well in my life right now was a grandiosity and ignorance you cannot fix another person. You can support them, but you cannot fix another person. And the very idea of me thinking that I could fix someone else who was broken meant that I was broken. I was avoiding fixing something in me. So I wanted to fix someone else.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's
created an entire different human to do something for yourself that you should have done for yourself. Yep.
Right. Real quick, I want
man.
to say what's up to Kevin Chang.
Yep.
My spiritual Christian out there, man. Good to see you, brother. God bless. Thanks that you're here with us. He says that an acquaintance was asking me about the ex-narc. I realized that they were working for or calculating in some industry, and although he denied being friends, I placed him on restrict. Good, because you pay attention. Yeah, you heard God talking to you. You heard your angels talking to you. That's a beautiful thing. When you are at a certain point in your healing, you're going to feel that. You're just going to know it instinctively, like, okay, there's something here. And Kevin, we've gone over this before. The demon spirit, the demonic spirit, like the legion that exists in all narcissistic people, it's so unmistakable, because this is why narcissistic people, you operate in the same vein. That's why they do the same types of abuses. They do the same types of things. They create the same types of anxieties, because they all have the same demon spirit. So when you encounter someone who has that spirit, then you're just going to know. And if you're healthy, you're going to just put them aside, push them aside, keep them at a distance. You don't have to say nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to point it out. For God's sakes, don't point it out. Just put them to the side. That's not for you. That's not where you're at. That's beautiful, Kevin. That shows growth. Congratulations, my brother. You are elevating higher and becoming more authentic every day. He also says, my whole life in the former industry, the fitness industry, was stolen from under me by the narc. No need to engage conversation about such people and demons even after 8 years ago. Absolutely not. And I'll tell you this, a very common theme that I've heard, Kevin, one of my clients, a couple of my clients, but one of them specifically, was in a spiritual industry. And the narc is a spiritual narcissist who came in, undermined her work, learned what he needed to learn, stole what he needed to steal, and basically copy and stole everything that she did. And then use that as a smear campaign, and use that as like, he's better than her. And she's going through the same kinds of like things where it's like, this was my industry. These are my people. This was my thing. And the narc stole it from me. And right now she's like in year 1, recovering herself.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's a difficult thing. It's hard to do, because part of the narc cycle, especially if they're doing something like that, like what you went through, is to push you out, to make you feel less than, to stop you from doing what you love, stop you from doing what makes you stronger as a person. So reclaiming that, Kevin, is such a part of your hero's journey, and continuing on, man. I'm so proud of you. That's a hero's journey. You've gone from a healing journey to a hero's journey, and I'm so proud of you. Keep shining, dude, and recognize those things. Make discernment. Trust in God, brother. Amen.
And I want to know, is that you and your avatar? Because if it is, holy shit, sir.
Yeah, Kevin's the boss. Kevin's walking around. Like, you know what I mean?
He's like, what do you think? Here it is.
Right. Hey, he whips it out. He says, yeah, God told me he made me and he loves me and I love him.
There you go.
Yeah. And if you want this, you're going to have to adhere.
Totally. All my life, I knew that I was going to grow up to be a banana hammock model. Right on, dude. You sell those Calvin Kleins, okay? Right on, brother.
You do that, dude. You do that. Kevin said it's the Narc-X is darkness and our light. We must learn to discover that light. Yes, brother. Yes. In whatever way, whatever road we go down, however it is that we find that connection with the light, like however you call it, however you serve it, the difference between someone who is really walking the path of the divine, walking that path with source, and someone who is hiding behind it, or completely against it. You can always tell that difference, man. That's why I love this community. I love talking to people like you, because we look at it different ways, but it's the same, and we understand.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you approach your spiritual health with the same tenacity that you approached your physical fitness, you would be undefeatable, sir.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is a proof. That is him, Coil.
That is him.
So,
okay.
I'm just saying, if you ever wanted to explore that side of yourself, Kevin.
We'll have to call up Kevin. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, Kevin is standing tall, banana hammock. Look at that tight. You ladies, you can see it, that tight ass right there. I mean, Kevin's been through it. He's a soldier. He's not going to let you down. All right. That is if you want a man with good spirituality, good Christian ethics, and a banana hammock, fucking talk to Kevin.
I know, right? You should blow up your avatar and be like, "Hey, Kevin."
Hey, Kevin, you know I don't swing that way, right? Like, I'm not saying Dragonstorm doesn't put anything up his ass and he doesn't look that way, but I'm just like right now looking at you and how fit you are. Like, I'm a little ashamed of myself, you know, like I feel like I'm being judged by your image. Like, I want to go do some push-ups and eat some carrots or something. And I'm not going to put them anywhere. I'm not saying I want to put them anywhere and think of you, brother. I'm just saying that like, if I were, you know, if I swung that way, that hammock you got might make me change gods. That's all I'm saying. And thank you for being that example.
Right. I didn't think you were going to do it.
No, you can't do that to Walton and not expect Walton to bite. Like, you can't.
I know, right?
Fucking A, man. Beth, don't keep your thoughts to yourself, honey. I need you to be as toxic as possible in this chat. That is what you do. That is your function. You are the twin train wreck, right? Beautiful. Jesus Christ, man.
You have an interesting question from CJ.
I do. Okay.
32 after the hour. Yeah.
Going back to 32. Thank you, bro. Guys, please smash the like button, share out the link, leave a comment after the stream if you would. Greatly appreciate that. Are you doing tarot tonight? Dude, I haven't even tarot, God. You know, first off, I need new cards because I tried reading tarot for somebody else recently, and it came out as not people that I was trying to fucking read about. So part of me overcoming my thing, I think, has been being able to read cards without it being linked back to who I used to read cards with. Yeah, that's something I have to overcome still. I guess that's still something to me I got to do, but I need a new deck. I need to, I think, step away from that for so long while changing and growing that when I decide to pick the cards back up, it won't be, you know, that memory and those memories and that attachment won't be a part of it. So, because I have read people in the last couple of months, and I have been able to generate authentic readings for them, but I've also just like all of a sudden, like, I know this reading, I know these cards, I know this energy. Why am I reading this person? Why is this person here? You know, why? I don't understand.
Yeah,
and it's, you know, I think the last couple of weeks had a lot to do with me clearing that out because I spent time exchanging energies with someone who was very as open as I am energetically and created some crazy shit. Like, Jesus Christ, Coil.
Some side effect, yeah.
Dude, side effects like a mofo. When I did that, she took some of my abilities because, you know, that happens when you trade energies with someone, and
right.
Though they manifested into like seeing signs and the shit that was going on around her that was just like, why is this happening? Why is this going on? And I was like, oh, okay, that's me. Yeah, that's my energy you've got right now.
You're reading yourself right now.
Yeah, you know, like
well, that's the thing about being a psychic or being a medium. If there's any part of yourself that's unfucked, you're going to be made aware of it like right away. And then it's up to you to decide, okay, I perceive this and I'm going to ignore it, or, you know, okay.
Well, yeah.
The universe giving me an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I manifested in someone who is very much like me in a lot of ways. And so there's messages, there's something there. There's something there that an exchange, you know what I mean, of knowledge or experience. And I've already kind of figured out a couple of them, which is I'm blessed for. Thank you. But when you're like, you know, let's speak on this energy exchange, sacred energy exchange for a minute.
Yeah.
So when you do not sleep with anybody for a long time, that takes energy away from your root chakra. That's like your primal self. Just like it's the same reason why people fast when they are going to practice some type of spiritual activity, because it takes energy away from your lower self, your digestive system being all attached to your emotional self and your primal self. And it takes that energy away from that and like pushes it up your kundalini into your crown, your third eye, your lotus, all of those things. And
Pineal.
your pineal, right. So when you decide to tap into your primal energy again through sexual activity, then your connection is way more open, way more potent.
Yes.
Because you're exercising something that you've basically like cleansed. It's the same way that like you do a diet cleanse. It's the same way that you you take probiotics and you are going on a schedule of eating and you're taking antitoxins and things like that. You're cleansing your digestive system, which creates
and
more
what
energy.
Happens if he goes and eat a cheeseburger,
Yeah, right, exactly. And you drag yourself back into the pit. Like that's what happened. And so after the initial exchange, it was just an exchange of energy and between two already very highly psychic, intuitive, and people that were like telepathic. So it's that's why it's like, that's another reason why, like, guys out there, if you have a high sex drive and if you like sleep with multiple people, or if you're, especially like when you were sleeping with the narc, right? So you're dedicated, you're loyal. The only person you're having sex with is the narc. Meanwhile, the narc, if they're semantic, is out there sleeping with everybody they can get supply from. And your exchange with them is not only tied in energetically because of the other activities, the abuses, the back and forth, the fight or flight, all those triggers, but you're now exchanging energy with them in this soup of all this other energy from these other people. And that changes your behavior. That changes you energetically and psychically, the psychic attachments.
Yes.
Which is another reason why it's hard to break the trauma bond.
Well, you can very well develop personality traits that seem unfamiliar or alien to you. Because you're picking up what your partner brought back, So I mean, STDs are a thing, but there's like a mental STD,
spiritual STDs,
like spiritual version of that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you this, Stephen. As far as Earth women go, I haven't been with one in like 3 years, and it's not because I find them uninteresting or unattractive, but it's because I value my energetic matrix, and women have to meet certain standards if they want to be physical with me. Now I talk about this on the other show. Notice I said human women, and I'll just leave it at that. Tune into the other show if you want to know. And then number 2, Stephen, there are more than one person in the chat who is interested in tarot. I mean, are you sure you don't want to do just a couple of like 3-card readings? You don't got to do the full fucking Celtic cross, but just like a today, tomorrow, right now kind of thing.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know if I want to do it with this deck. The only deck that I have is another one. It's saturated with. Oh my God!
Like you have to go clean it. Like it has to bathe in the moon and the sun at the same time.
Dude, I have fucking cleansed it. The last trick that I have with this fucking deck is to throw it in some fire, give it a fire cleanse. You know what I mean? Like,
all right, chat. I tried. Sorry.
It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. Now you got me thinking about it.
Well, I think you'd be okay, but trust yourself, right?
Oh, he said, "Oh, I love you, Coil."
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Moving on. You want to say her roots? My roots are rotting. Then, Beth.
Shit.
Listen, Beth. You are so clear and clean right now. All right, let's think of it that way. You would not have any spiritual STDs left. As long as you haven't dipped into the freaking the chest of backdoor equipment from Narc X. All right, so I'm glad if you threw that out and destroyed it. That would probably be the best thing. The fucking chest of dildos. Which oddly enough, I was talking with a narc abuse survivor recently, and she had said, she was like, your videos about male narcs putting things up their ass is like one of the things that made me start talking to you. which I didn't know was a popular topic, but apparently is. I'm over 500,000 freaking views on the goddamn video. And I had no idea that talking about male narcs putting things up their ass was going to be such a big subject. And I've gotten to the point where I've gotten to the point where I've just admitted flat out, like, listen, the reason I did that video was because I was clowning Narc X's, lover, whatever the hell he is. And then found out that it was a thing. It was like, everybody's a thing. It's a really big thing. And all these people come through and they're like, I have never heard another narc abuse recovery channel talk about this. And I'm just like, well, I guess and now it's turned into a series of videos. Oh,
it's funny. We have guest narc therapists come on and we float out the idea and they're like, you know what? These are like famous people who have thousands of clients. Yeah. They're like, you're right.
I was like, we'll talk about it. Tell them. So I'm talking to this victim, the survivor. And she was like, I got to show you something. And I'm like, okay. And then she comes back with this 13-inch black freaking dildo, this huge freaking monster. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, honey, what are you trying to tell me right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. She was like, this is my ex's. And I'm like, oh my God, for real? And she was like, yeah.
What's that song? Like, I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that.
But I won't do that. I'm like, let me tell you something. You ladies out there that are with these male narcs that like get pegged and shove things up their ass. Like, I don't understand. Because to me, like then the whole conversation doesn't become like, I'm disgusted or how did he fit that? Or is his prostate okay? It becomes like, hold on. So you're telling me that this fucking grown child, this big fucking toddler who would blame you for everything, who would like hit you, who would put holes in the walls, who would like enact all these like really nasty abuses, physical, mental, emotional abuses on you constantly. At some point between these abuses would bend over and say, mommy, shove it in there. And I'm like thinking to myself, really? Like at some point, y'all ladies that had to do this, you must have been like fucking this narc in the ass and going, yeah, that's right, you take it, bitch, you fucking piece of shit, bitch. And what's crazy is that narc was taking it and going, yeah, I am, I am. And I'm like, what this insanely part of what part of the cycle does not scream toxicity first off? And it makes me look at these male narcs, all narcs, but like male narcs as like some of the biggest pieces of absolute worthless crap. Just like to be a man who hits women, who triangulates them, cheats on them, doesn't give them their worth, doesn't recognize their worth, doesn't recognize, and then asks to be pegged, and then has the audacity to ask this person that they have been treating like absolute garbage and cheating on and yelling at and abusing, stick this huge 13-inch monster black cock dildo up my ass, mommy. How do you not know first? Like the grandiosity is real. How do you not know you're a complete piece of freaking trash? How do you not? Like, well, I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is fuel for another video. I feel it coming now. But
it's the thing, Stephen. Like, if you're a straight male, how do you go from like loving and coveting like female vagina to fuck me in the ass with the 13-inch dildo?
Because they don't.
How does that? What's the mental journey there?
First off, Coil, the mental journey is a personality disorder. Okay. And it comes from a semantic narcissist, right? So they have sex addictions. Now women are semantic too, and they have sex addictions. Yeah. And so the crazy God, I don't want to talk about X. I don't. All right. You know what? I'm not. I'm just going to put it like this. Okay. Yeah. So there are semantic female narcissists.
If there was a hypothetical female narcissist,
right. Okay, so a female semantic with a sex addiction gets to a point where like she will sleep with dirtbag like dudes. She will like sleep with dudes who have girlfriends who are heroin hookers in Chester, and and to a degree she'll be like, that turns me on because I hate myself and I really do feel like I'm filth, but I'm going to live through this experience because I'm getting over on another woman by screwing this guy. Like there's like this weird debaucherous feeling of doing something that disgusting, that dehumanizing, that also gets them off. And it's because the addictive personality of straight sex just doesn't do it for me anymore. Or just cheating on just, getting with a guy who's married or who has a wife or boy or girlfriend or whatever, like them cheating on another woman with me and me giving that feeling of superiority doesn't work anymore. So they go into like these different areas up into including getting off on like gay porn, like a woman getting off on guy porn, a woman getting off on trying to turn her men gay. You know what I mean? And then because at that point, from the female narcissist perspective, she gets to feel worthless because now he's cheating on her with dudes. Now he's getting off with dudes, not her. So now like her femininity is in question. It's all about cycles of self-defeat, destroying themselves, continually destroying themselves while supporting this grandiosity and this narcissistic shell that they're the bestest ever and running from healing themselves. And not only at that point, but just trying to hurt themselves even more. So you have that type of female narc. And if that type of female narc comes across a male narc, who is like overt, like a fucking retarded semantic, then he will explore that side of himself with her. But it will get to a point where he has already, if he's already gotten to that point, hidden his bisexuality. Because he too needs greater heights, needs greater hits, needs a new drug in order to keep from healing himself. And so now he's sneaking off, after yelling at and ghosting and blaming whoever, his girl, his primary supply. Now he's going out to meet Gay Tony at a truck stop. Now he's going to go sleep with his male friend. Now he's going to go find a transsexual. Now, he's going to go do these things because he needs a greater height, and it's multifaceted. And it is the feeling of being sneaky and hiding something from their primary supply, who they can then go home, project that they are cheating because they're actually cheating, blame their disgusting behavior on them if they get caught in any way. But it's also like reaching new heights and a whole new field of supply. Now that semantic narcissist dude can go find a bi-curious or another dude who's in a relationship with a girl and go have sex with him. Now he's getting off on getting over on her. He's getting off on like having sex with this guy. So that's what it is. It's continually hurting themselves. And that is the cycle involved with those types of narcissistic people. So that's why they will come home and yell at and beat and cheat and destroy and try and, this woman. And then at some point say, honey, would you throw the strap on and, fuck me in the ass? Because they want to be dehumanized.
It's my turn to be punished. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's insane, dude. And it's a thing. And apparently I can't be the only one, but apparently I'm like the one that a lot of these women and men and have come through and like heard me talking about it and go, yeah, that's a thing. And dude, and one more thing before I stop. And the one thing I've noticed is that every male narc who comes through and sees that video instantly gets triggered, bro. So triggered.
Yes.
And they try and come out like, are you projecting? Are you talking about yourself? Are you And I'm just like, oh, hey, narc, you ain't been pegged today? I just see it right away. Like, are you offended by this? But it also triggers
shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right.
It does. Yes. Fuck yeah. Darvo all day. And another thing is like female narcissists who are, like I explained with the female narcs who try and turn their men bi or gay, like they'll come through and the way that they speak is in a certain way where I just know who they are. But not only that, the narcissistic toxic personalities who are so involved with the rainbow community thing, like they come through and the first thing that they do is they go, this is homophobic. This is this is and I'm like, no, it's not. It's you're indoctrinated and you get negative fuel from pointing the finger at people who don't want to embrace, crazy sexual ideals being pushed in our schools and to our kids to make them more accessible to perverts. That you're triggered when someone is saying anything that is outside of your box.
Oh, yeah. Well, and to hawk your book a little bit, Phantom Menace Volume 1, go ahead and check it out, you guys. You identify people who position themselves in strategic areas in the entertainment industry, and they started championing causes for groups of people that they say are marginalized, but that they do not belong to that group. right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a very interesting point you made. And what we were seeing on a personal level and a relationship wise, you were able to see on a mass media level and articulate it. Now, I don't think you actually said it in terms of, you might have actually used the word narcissist, but this is like years before you were healing
Yeah.
people with that cause.
Yeah.
I just found that interesting, man.
Well, it's the crazy commonalities, the things that at one time, okay, oh God, this is such a big thing. Let me try and break it down. Firstly, I'm in a chat with Snowdub when we were doing shows a few months ago,
Hail
Trans Fat, where I mentioned toxic people or toxic behaviors, and someone in the chat said, "Isn't that an SJW word?"
Mm.
And that led me down a whole rabbit hole again, because so what narcissists or toxic people do with social movements is that they literally bitch about colonization and appropriation as they appropriate terms and misuse them to gaslight others, and then turns people off to those terms. And one of those terms is toxic. Yeah, toxic personalities exist. So you look at, like social justice is a thing, and it is appropriate when applied in a community setting where it needs to be applied. Like, that is not social justice is not toxic, but you have people who use the word toxic inappropriately. Like, for instance, your atypical, grandiose, waspy white woman who, at some level, feels so much shame, and that they have a grandiosity that they step out and speak for the black people, right? And they're doing it to self-grandize, right? And they're also doing it from a position that is actually racist, right? So you're basically saying, right? The waspy, grandiose white woman, is basically, is basically speaking for the black people because they're not smart enough or strong enough to speak for themselves. And pressing on. So they're actually being racist, and at the same time, right. Same thing with this whole gender fucking bullshit. Same thing with the post.
You made me think about male feminists who will go out there and say all this fucking bullshit that's right along with the program, but they're saying it in hopes of getting laid. And fucking feminists aren't interested in that dick. Not that dick.
But it's not just that.
Yeah.
It's not just that. No, you're right. It's not just that, right? That's one type of insecurity that's being shown by the male feminist. It's also, they're also looking for external validation to support their self-grandization. That is what they're doing. Whether they're narcissistic or not, they have some type of grandized version of themselves that needs to be supported with external validation. And so they stand up for basically toxic femininity. Because fourth-watch feminism has not been healthy in a long time.
No.
And so
and it's almost gone to the point of being misandry these days.
It is misandry. It absolutely is misandry, dude. Then I call that out every time a woman who is a narcissistic tendency, if you are in the vein of these type of social issues, is looking down at men to such a degree that you are misandrist. You are. Yes. All men are like this, all right? Because we have been oppressed, and we have the this, and we have the that, and I'm like, bitch, I need you to go back to like pre-woman suffrage era. You know what I mean? I need you to go back to that time in history and try and fucking talk your shit. Yeah. You would get slapped the fuck down in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Not only that, but like women of that day didn't want to do all the shit that women are doing now. They enjoyed being at home and raising kids and taking care of the farm or whatever the fuck. Absolutely.
Right. Their natural function, but they also wanted to be recognized for the value that they put in, the value that they are. They should be allowed to vote. They should be, you know what I mean? Like, they should have the same fucking rights in court. They should be able to own a business, run a business, and do it. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely, dude.
If they want to.
If they want to, they should all be true to their nature. But what the narcissists, definitely narcissists and other types, have done with movements like feminism is, from the 70s, created an environment where there is no tolerance for anyone outside of their view. And this is very, very apparent in the way that Vietnam veterans when they came home, right? They left America at one point, went off to war, and then they did a whole bunch of tours in the jungle where a whole bunch of crazy shit happening. And then they come home, right? And begin their healing journey by coming back to like, you know, Chicago or Philadelphia or wherever, where there are these like where these toxic hypergamous ideals have been put in place where society has changed and they have not. And now they're being told they're pieces of shit. They're being spit on. No matter what the fuck they just did.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Because they haven't quote unquote caught up with the times. When in reality, it's only been the democratic urban centers that have shifted in this perspective. It's not the entire country, you know. And so like, you know, these men are also being abused and devalued by this narcissistic ideal of hypergamy. And it's and it is a complete overcorrection from misogyny, which absolutely existed and had existed for a long ass fucking time. But it's an overcorrection. It's that really devalues the debate and takes away the commonalities and natural roles that normative people have. You know what I mean? You know, it's natural for a woman to want to be the backbone of the home, to want to bear the kids, rear the kids, be the emotional center, cook, clean, you know, like those things, but also at the same time be respected for that role, and you know, and you know, have some type of balance between her and the man, or her and the masculine figure. And so it's we've seen this get worse and worse and worse, and especially when it comes into entertainments where you have these fucking privileged millionaires. These privileged millionaires who don't understand the struggle of, am I going to pay for food or medicine this week?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that are just like extolling their virtue on everyone else and telling you you're an awful person because you know, don't acquiesce to the toxic behaviors of a misandrist or a racist, you know, and, you know, like Antifa is a great example of that. The anti-fascist group, that is a bunch of fucking fascists. They're fascists.
Absolutely it is.
You know?
They go out and pretend to fight what they actually are. Yeah.
Right. It's the Black Lives Matters groups that go out there and fucking enact violence and beat people up and rob stores and all this shit. If you got a problem with it, that's because you're racist. What?
Right.
What? No, it's these are narcissistic behaviors. These are narcissistic people. So again, going back to
absolutely.
Right. So going back to what we were doing in the Fandom Menace, which was fighting narcissists and psychos and these like Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger and elitists and toxic personalities. Chuck Wendig, for instance, you know, like he's a real bad one. Chuck Wendig was such a bad narcissist that the other narcissists were like, yo, you've got to go because you're making the rest of us look bad. And we're trying to keep up a false facade and a fake face right now. You know,
totally.
right. And then you have the blue-haired weirdos. You know, first off, you have like the garbage tier media acting as the flying monkeys trying in the echo chamber, trying to keep the ideals going. You got the fucking the Twitter mobs, the blue-haired weirdos, those social justice warriors who are just like attacking everybody. And if you don't agree with them and you don't respect their pronouns or whatever the fuck, then you're like this evil, racist, white piece of shit. Right. And if you're a black person, if they even acknowledge that you're black and you have a contradictory view, then you are an Uncle Tom. You are. You know, it's
we got to protect strong women of color, unless her name is Gina Carano.
Right. And so, and it's so much bullshit. And all it is people looking for negative fuel, looking for that fight. And when we saw that, we were like, this is such toxic behavior. Again, one of the words they used was toxic. So we stopped using that, you know, but here we are years later, and I've like looked and researched and talked to and learned a lot, and like just the whole scope of things that I've learned through Dragonstorm. And I see it clear as day. That's a narcissist with affluenza who's running that fucking production company, who is then making sure the production company enacts a culture of thinking that reflects their false facade, because that false facade creates negative fuels their grandiosity, and then the grandiosity of all the toxic people that they hire, creating an echo chamber which is unstable, low vibrational, and pushes out people who are healthy people, and then using our modern mythologies, TV shows, movies, games, comics, just our media, which was at one point an escapist entertainment venture for anyone from any culture, background, or belief to come together and talk about around the water cooler. You take that and you turn it into a political or social argument, and then you take away people's ability to bridge and speak to one another. That is fucking narcissism. That is fucking narcissism. That's exactly what they did.
100%.
Created, triangulated everybody.
Mhm.
You know, and it's disgusting. And you know, we see it to this day. You know, politics.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've always seen it in politics, but it's just so overblown now.
Absolutely. Well, you think about the means of control over the human race. There's a economic, there's a social, there's a religious, and then there's the media. And if you get the same type of person working on holding that chain, they're going to design it a certain way, and then they're going to hand you the chain and convince you to hold it yourself. And a lot of that's through those sort of like they convince us to self-police. And so we might have a particular point of view or a political affiliation or a view of how home and family should be, but we don't do it. We don't share those ideas because we're scared. And and that's exactly what narcissists do. They try to knock you off your high vibration, make you vibrate with fear, hate, anger, jealousy, suspicion. And then they fuel themselves with that, but then they turn around and like punish you for being that way. It's not right. It's very insidious, man.
It is, and it's why only certain people have capitalized. Only certain people, like from the old TFM, have capitalized on it, right? But they have to understand. Like, I love Ryan, right? Ryan Cannell, RK Outpost guys. If you guys are hip to anything we're talking about right now, go check out RK Outpost. Go check out Nerdrotic. Go check out Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy Griggs, Day Cobra. You know, like I see Ryan. He's been doing really well, consistent, and he's really perfected the craft. But I'm looking at, like, to a degree, I was like, Ryan has to know. Ryan has to know that he is operating in a feedback loop. You know, there's a feedback loop that's happening between the woke, quote unquote, woke narcissists in the industry and in the media, and then those of us who fought against that for years. But it's a feedback loop of negative fuel. And, you know, it's a lot of us like you, like high vibrational, you know, like just got out of it, stopped doing it. It's also the reason why some of the people who failed at it, who didn't get the pushes, who didn't grow to that height, that's why a lot of those people are upset with like G&G and Nerdrotic in them. Like anyone else.
Sure.
That could be World Class, Midnight's Edge, like any comics division, any of those guys. The reason that they're so like, they're fake, I don't like them, they'll find an excuse to hate them, is because they too, they're being left out of the feedback loop. They didn't get to that height. They didn't get that negative fuel. And I'm telling you, every time I hear somebody bitching about like one of the people that I know are good, decent people, I'm like, I don't have to call it out. Occasionally I have, but I don't have to call it out because I understand you're not really upset at Ryan Cannell. You're not really upset at Jeremy Griggs. You're upset that they became successful at something you wish you wanted to do.
You're upset at the station that they climbed to.
Right. And you wanted that negativity. You wanted that fight forever because you get off on it because you're actually toxic and nothing like you say you are. You know what I mean? Like, I just walk away from it. But going to what real quick, what Kevin, sexy ass Kevin might change my sexuality says is woke narcissism. And again, the term woke in the 90s, because I remember when that term first came around. That term actually is a compliment from a black person to anybody else, like to me as like a white guy. That actually was made as a compliment of, oh, you understand, like you understand beyond the text of the word, you understand the context of history. And then that term was,
you're woke.
Right, you're awake. Right. And then that term was appropriated by toxic people and mutilated and transformed by narcissists into a person who does not recognize history in the context of its time and does not recognize what the truth or the truth of reality of a certain time is. And in fact, is used as a person who has not caught up with the times and is not living in this moment and does not understand that all past generations are toxic and are not wise because they were different than you. And that's a narcissistic appropriation of that term, which succeeded. I think it's succeeded because to this day, we all, like even I do it every now and again. I forget myself and I'll say, well, like this fucking woke politician, like, as a negative thing when it should mean someone who sees beyond. It's fucked up, man.
Well, it's even stranger because when we're talking about media and politics, the only reason that they get to act that way is because generations of men have built a safe, secure society that allows them to do that. If this was like 200 years ago and we were still like fighting bears and shit, do you think anybody would care about,
no
woke feminism? No, there's a fucking lion outside.
right, bro. And look,
wolves are going to carry your children away. Right?
I take it back to part of me wishes that we had maintained that old West mentality. You know, bring back dueling. Part of me wishes that we had that. That idea that if someone acts wreck, you can challenge them to a duel. You know what I mean? You can get out in the proverbial, dusty street, right outside the saloon and just shoot that motherfucker. You know what I mean? If he shoots you, okay, you lost. But if that toxic narcissist, psycho, whatever the fuck, if you shoot him dead, the problem's done. It's no contact with a guarantee. Part of me, and then I was saying that and Red Gaze came at me with like, we'll bring back shaming. And I was like, you know what? That is probably a more healthy way to look at it, right? But thank you once again for, gaze wisdom. And,
hail trans
hail trans fat. If we bring back shaming, which is something that we've lost, is the narcissists and the toxics and the psychos that are pushing propaganda, that are like actually trying to hurt our kids behind a fucking rainbow flag of virtue. They reinforce this idea, this echo chamber of these certain ideals, which are, just narcissistic projections in and of themselves. But if we like counter that by just holding people accountable, hold them accountable for their actions. If we go back to the time when it was like, they put that person's a thief, you throw him in the town square in a cage for a couple of days so everybody knows that person did this and they did, then there would be I think there'd be a lot less likelihood of people enacting those
Queen
things.
Cersei thing. They made her walk naked down the fucking hill in front of everybody.
It's just something that we've lost, and that's because it's being pushed by the narcissists that run politics and our media companies and this and that. This could be part of a toxic aspect of corporate American culture, Wall Street, but it's infecting every single facet of our society, to where we are living in a time when, you think like, are there narcissists everywhere? Yes, there are. There absolutely. There's narcissists and narcissistic fucking behaviors going on every fucking where. And that's why you see an explosion of channels that are like do the stuff that I do. That's why I created what I do. That's why this exists, because it's a pushback to the fact that there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people out there who have been conditioned or have been abused or have been through these cycles of abuse that are starting to speak out about it. And thank God for that, because it's really fighting evil. It's spiritual warfare, dude.
Yeah. And I like how you put that those people place themselves in positions of influence. And it's totally that Lord of the Rings thing with Worm Tongue. The king is all fucked up, so he's like whispering in his ear, and kings are making decrees, and these people are running around unchecked. So it's up to us. It's up to us as the consumer.
It is up to us.
Yeah, we got to stop watching bad shit. That's all it is.
Well, stop stop allowing the endorsements of stuff that we know is wrong.
Right.
All right, it's just the idea. Oh God, the shift in perception. Gen Xers, be with me here. Oh, you intelligent millennials out there, stay with me right now, because you're going to understand the shift in perspective that has gone from. Older people get old because they acquire wisdom. They've lived through the world. All right. The world changes. It might not be the same way it was when Grandpa was around, but Grandpa's got pearls of wisdom that are going to help you survive. And then changing the shift of focus from that to we should let young people. We should venerate young people, right? And so you've got like this freaking 20-year-old or this fucking 18-year-old actress or actor who's extolling these values that they've been conditioned to believe or have not had enough life experience in order to understand that that's not the way the world works. And then we look at them and use that as a base point for wisdom, and it's not. It is never and never was. All of us went through teenage years with insecurities. We all went through like, some type of bullying, maybe. We all went through some type of shit, and it wasn't until we hit like our 20s that we hit a certain level of understanding, our 30s, another level of understanding. And then we focus that on like the most unwise segment of our population, and then condition them as our schools have been in the last 20 years, condition them to believe value systems that are not real. All right, they're not real. All right, there's no reason that a health class should be talking about 60 something fucking genders. There is no reason that we should be talking about jerking off in elementary schools. There's no reason why you should have a freaking cross-dresser or whatever at the school library or wherever, like reading books to kids. No, those are adult realm themes. Realm themes.
Yes.
And then conditioning these children to think that anyone who has a problem with it is being a bigot or intolerant. No, that is not it. That is a gaslighting campaign. That is a smear campaign on wise people, wisdom, the natural order. That's what that is. And it's God damn, it's so infuriating. It's infuriating.
When we're talking about narcissism on this echelon, you're really looking at they worked on Generation X and the millennials for so long, and they realized they couldn't really get that far. So then they stopped and they started working on the next generation. So you got all these, like you're saying, you got all these 20-year-old kids at college talking out of the side of their mouth about shit that they don't understand just because they took a class and a teacher told them that. You have no practical real world experience, but yet you're coming in here fired up about my rights, my feelings.
Yeah, well, and it's not, but it's not just that. It goes back to the whole fucking tribal aspect of, do you share my mental disorder? If you don't share my mental disorder, then you're a bigot. You're a this. You're, what I mean? And so, like these colleges and universities and schools, they're like promoting not only unhealthy ideals and these sick things, but they're also like reinforcing it and creating cultures, and then not punishing, regulating, or establishing the same rules of engagement for people who speak for and against these unhealthy ideals. And so you've got, not only is that college student here, the professor here, this fucking whack-ass professor who's not doing their job, they're not teaching, they're indoctrinating, but they also have the other kids in class, and that one kid, or that few percentage of kids who are like raising their hand and going, I don't agree with any of this. This sounds like mental illness. This is not how society should be. They're shamed. They're shamed for thinking normally. And so that's what you've got. And that's why like sending, like, it's fucking crazy that in the last like 15 years, you hear over and over again, parents who are like afraid to send their kids to college. They're literally, they don't know. Like if I send my child to college, are they going to become indoctrinated? Are they going to lose the family values that we've had? Are they going to lose all the hard work that I've had to fight and keep instilled in this kid throughout their development? Are they going to go off and are they going to like, you see pictures time and time again of like I said, these far leftist freaking women who go to college out of high school and they look beautiful. They look like your normal freaking, Americana teen. And then they spend a year or two in college and they've got like 3 different colored hair and different layered, and they got like nose rings and eyelid rings and all these, and they're posting about like the patriarchy and systemic racism and all, it's like, what the fuck, dude? You just became a toxic piece of, because of the environment turns them into hateful, shame-filled, insecure, toxic, narcissistic people.
Congratulations, you're exactly who George Soros wants you to be.
Exactly, bro. And any list of counter arguments, like you don't want to send your kid to college because you just want to remain an ignorant, stupid West Virginian who's fucking your cousin. Like, any number of fucking just like projections or smears or devaluation tactics. And it's a fucking shame. I actually started this conversation because I wanted to say, I wanted to say, if you want to look at somebody who's not like that, look at this person, but I'm not going to do that because that is somebody who's running for president. So what I'm going to say is, if you want to see someone who is speaking from a position of common sense, it was also a veteran of our U.S. military, and you can put aside any type of political, ideals. Look at, oh shit, god damn it! Now I can't think of her name. I can think of her name. The woman from Hawaii. God damn it! Oh shit, I can't. I built that all up, and now I can't remember her name. Papa Cotton, help me. I know you know who I'm talking about. The chick that has the gray in her hair. She's from Hawaii. She's dark skinned, Republican. Oh fuck! What is her name? What is her name? Damn, I can't think of it. I thought, oh, god damn it. Somebody out there, somebody follows politics and knows what I'm talking about. Oh god, what's her name? Is she a
senator? Is she a representative?
No, she was a senator. Yeah, she was a senator for Hawaii. Tulsi Gabbard. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Showback.
Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. Look at Tulsi Gabbard. Like, for real. All right. I know, like, if you guys Democrats or whatever, not just put that aside for a moment and really go check out like what she's saying. You may not align with necessarily her politics or her, but look at how she talks, what she says, and the messages she speaks on. She's talking about everyone having the right to live their life how they want to live it. She's also talking about like real topics and engaging those topics in like not hyperbole, like just right down the fucking middle. You know what I mean? Like that is, and does she get a lot of shine? No, because she's not playing the political narcissist game.
No,
she's not playing on the hyperbole. She's not playing on the on the negative fuel and the negative reactions and the attack statements that people make. You know, you saw it in the election. You definitely saw it in the 2020 election, the one that was stolen. And then, and you saw it when this last presidential election started. I don't want to get into that. We'll talk about that later. I try not to go too far into politics here because our crowd is different types, but you can see, you can always see when it's a toxic environment, when it's the loudest ones, the ones that get the most attention are the ones who are feeding into the cycle of negativity if it's a toxic cycle. And the ones who are remaining level-headed and cool, those are the ones that don't get as much attention. Because being verbose, narcissistic, being grandiose, that is loud, that creates conflict. And human beings are naturally kind of drawn to that kind of an atmosphere. But when you are calm and you get your shits together, it's a higher vibration that not too many people are attuned to, and you're not going to attract as much. It's just the nature of the beast.
That's why I only have 600 subs.
That's it, dude. You only have 600 subs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I got like 607, something like that. You guys should go and sub to me. Share my channel out.
Yeah, absolutely. Go. Yes. So. Listen, dude, I got to a certain point, like real quick off topic. I got to a certain point where this channel went stagnant. And like one of the reasons I figured it out now that growing in my other channels, I figured it out that when toxic or when like narcissists, especially narcissists because they're manic, but like when toxic people start flagging you for nonsense, like they mass flag you, it stifles your algorithm. It stifles the growth. And that was happening on and off on this channel. And then like I go to TikTok, which apparently TikTok will allow you to talk about almost damn anything except.
Oh yeah. I get way more interaction on TikTok than I do on YouTube,
TikTok's
or
great.
Instagram. Yeah.
Well, because go ahead. But because none of the toxic people that I interacted with, the smear campaigns, the YouTubers, all the shit that I went through in the past, like they all attacked this channel. And because they don't operate in like Instagram or YouTube spheres, like really they don't, like none of them do. Once I started making noise over there, and then that little fucking spat that I had with that other narc, the TikTok narc, I noticed that my TikTok channel started it was just different. Certain things would hit, certain things weren't. Because I got flagged for a couple of videos when they started mass flagging me. And I was like, okay, well I'm being stifled in the algorithm. Instagram hasn't done that, thank God yet. But that's what happens, dude. It's if you have people that don't like you, don't like what you're doing, and especially if they're like in a position where they run their part of the organization or of the platform, they will stifle the shit out of you. Like shadow banning is a real fucking thing.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely it is.
Yeah. And so that the growth that has happened here again is, honest to God, it has nothing to do with YouTube. It has nothing to do with YouTube.
It has to do with narcs putting shit up their ass.
Yes. No, it has to do with like cross promotion, dude. Multi-platform cross promotion. This is what it is.
Yeah.
You know? I went on fucking TikTok and did one live stream, bro, and talked like I do here, and got flagged for hate speech, and it was taken down. And I'm like, what the fuck? Man. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Really, dude? Fuck, okay. I'm going to go over to fucking YouTube. And the video I did bitching about it and saying I'm going to go to YouTube and where the fucking freedom reigns and go talk about wherever I want, was one of my highest fucking viewed videos of the time. It's been crazy. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. You know, and that's the thing. When you're in the spiritual realm, people would rather talk about buttholes in their crown chakra. And you have to be like a high woo-woo person, or you have to be a insanely hot chick with her tits out in order to get listened to. And
so,
you know,
yeah. Well, and that, dude, that's what I tell some of my female clients. I like when they're if they are connected to social media, or you know the narcissist abuse happened while they were building something. I tell all the time. I say, listen, unapologetically, social media is built for you, honey. You know, and I'm not telling you to go on freaking OnlyFans or anything like that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that if you're a woman, like you have, use that, okay, use that part of you that other women, you know, compare themselves or want to be like you. All right, use that dudes are going to follow you and shit just cause you look good, you know, you got some cleavage out, or you know, like use it. Just go. If I had tits, I'd be shaking them all the time on social. Like, I'm not mad. Okay, men have to work a little harder when it comes to social media, as they do. But like something, okay, so what Papa Cotton's talking about, he says, my crap performs much better on Twitter than YouTube. YouTube can suck sweaty monkey balls. All right, so, all right, okay. Now, what I'm about to say is not a judgment on anyone, okay? This is, I don't want it to be taken like that. What I'm saying is, you see how little I am on Twitter now? How little I operate? Retweet, share, you see how little I am on that platform? Because even though Elon Musk took it and made some changes, Twitter is a low resonance space. It is a low vibrational, low resonance space filled with every toxicity you could possibly fucking find. And so if you do controversial, clowning, troll stuff, you know, you're a troll, you know, you have to openly fucking admit it. You know, like, so for a troll, absolutely you do better on Twitter. You're going to survive. You're going to thrive there because there's a lot of low energy, toxic, resonant, angry, fearful, projecting, narcissistic people on Twitter. So, and that's just the nature of it. That's why I don't use it anymore. That's why I don't give a shit about Twitter at fucking all. You know, I go there just to fucking post shit. I go
really
there
only
to post
see
shit.
the DMs, man.
You only see me and nobody sees my tweets really, and it's not that nobody sees them, it's this. The only time people pay attention to my tweets is if they're hate watching, hate lurking. You know what I mean? What the fuck is Walton doing now? He thinks he's so much better than everybody else. It was, you know, like those people. Or it goes into a DM full of fucking toxic people, or people who are watching but not interacting. And I'm cool with that. And it also has to do that I'm not interacting on Twitter, and you have to interact with other accounts on Twitter in order for your account to be in like the cycle, you know?
Right.
And I just don't have any interest. I don't. Everybody's projecting on Twitter. Everybody thinks you're not saying what you're saying. Everybody thinks you're fake on Twitter. Everybody thinks it's just a fucking low resonance space, man. And I don't like do that.
Trending hashtags, none of those things are relevant. It doesn't have anything to do with life or whatever. It's just
not our lives, right? But it's not our lives. It's not real life. No, it is designed.
Oh, there he is.
And Facebook is like this too. Facebook is also like this, but it's designed to keep you locked into the negative vibration of the matrix. No, it's meant to keep you looking at events or looking at things that keep you engaged in anger, fear, or you know what I mean, like or some type of like troll behavior. Like that's what it's designed to do, and that's right. I'm just like that's not who I am. Like, I just don't give a fuck. I don't care about those things.
We got some trans fat in the house.
Oh, do we? What's up? Hold on. Shit, move the goddamn thing. Can't move it. Yo, what's up, brother? Hail Snow.
What's happening?
How's everything going
Snow?
on your end, dude? Yeah, I haven't talked to you in a minute.
No, and you guys, go check out Snowdub's GoFundMe. He just lost a family member. He lost his puppy.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh my god.
He went live last week or week and a half ago, something like that, and it was like sudden. Like one day he had a dog, and then like by the end of the day he didn't. So
that's his family. Snow, put a link, put that link in the chat for me, man. And guys, please. Promote, give if you can, share if you will. Yeah, dude. Snow's animals are his family. Like our animals are our family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
and I trust dogs really more than I trust people. Totally, man.
Yeah,
and
totally, bro.
I'll tell you guys this. There are only a handful of people whose like actual phone number I have off of the internet. Snowdub's one of them. He is a true, genuine motherfucker. Go watch his show too. Cotton Connection's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, down to the fucking core, guys. If you guys like comedy and you get this fucking you want to escape from the world and laugh for a little while, check out Snowdub. Absolutely.
He is Jim Henson's middle finger. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So once I started following music accounts, that's what I get. I keep my followers under 100 and keep my. Oh yeah, fucking A, dude. Fucking A. Yeah, because you like that. Because that's your thing, Papa. Like I'm like that's why I said like I'm not judging anybody. It's just like it's not my thing. It used to be, and if I realized that if I wanted to get back into doing the author Stephen Walton stuff, that I'd have to go back there. You know, like I'm gonna go back into that fucking. I'm just like, do I really care? Like, because at this point I understand that being engaged in that might bring me down into another place, and I'm just not in that place anymore. You know, this is not my thing. Yeah, I like what I do now. I've really enjoyed working with clients, helping people heal. I feel like I've discovered one of my purposes in life by doing that. The one-on-ones and I like, I like being the guy. I've said this a couple times out there on the other platforms. I'm like, I'm not the guy you go to for technical information on NPD.
Right.
I am not the guy that you're coming to, and I'm going to explain to you the trauma bond, and I'm going to explain to you the technicalities of those things. Got plenty of other people that do that. I'm Steve Walton. I do things my way, and I do it by like shock and awe. Either I'm giving you motivation to and reminding you of how fucking strong you are and how good you are and how like you've been doing well and you're getting away from these toxic people and changing yourself, and I'm proud of you. Or I'm the guy that's going to get on there and just fucking yell about like, okay, why this fucking grown toddler who's getting upset every fucking week because they can't control their emotions and they're abusing you because they're projecting their insecurities onto you, and then they're trying to pass on pain, and then they're getting going into narcissistic rage and fucking they're throwing their fucking bob-ons, spitting out SpaghettiOs. You got to put this fucking grown toddler in a high chair and fucking let him sit for a little while. Because some people need to hear that when you're stuck in the trauma bond, when you're stuck, because it gets to a point where you miss your ex. You've been so conditioned and because you haven't healed properly, you're still missing this fucking abusive person or this abuse cycle because you've been locked in it for however long. I know, I was there. That you need somebody reminding you that person's a piece of shit. That person is a demon. That person is a fucking hell's clown from the burning circus of what the fuck. That person, you're right. You should not miss someone like that. There's no reason to stop doing that. You only miss them because you're conditioned to fight or flight. You only miss them because your body, your spirit, your mind is used to this routine of being abused. And you're used to devaluing yourself, which you shouldn't do. You need to fix that shit the first fucking moment you can. That's me. That's who I am. That's who Dragonstorm is. And I like doing that. I like doing that.
Snowdub posted as a link.
Okay. I feel your energy dipping there, Immortal Coil. Are you ready to be done?
Well, I just know his show's coming up, and I want to give the audience an opportunity to get to know his show.
Okay.
But you know, and that's the thing. Despite bullshit happening, Snowdub fucking goes to work. He does all this shit, and then he puts on a seriously funny show for you guys. So check it out. Yeah.
Hail trans fat.
Yep.
Oh my god. I haven't talked to Angus in a minute. I wonder what he's up to. Is he still out there hating on Eric July?
he's probably posting Fuda Nari pics somewhere. Yeah. But I do want to say that we will be running Savage Spirituality tonight, 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. East Coast. So if you guys want to continue to participate in the higher realm conversation, join us out there on my channel. We'll post the link too. Yeah.
Oh, look at Snow. He said, I haven't stopped working since my dog died. Yeah, keep him busy. I'm on day 20 so far. Helps get mind all. Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Yeah, get into the grind, get through it. It's an unimaginable heartbreak to lose a family member so close.
Totally. Well, one of my best friends, man, he works in demolition, and he's going through a lot of shit. A woman accused him of something that he did not do and involved the legal system. So he just goes to work and breaks shit all night. And truthfully, as men, we do need that physical outlet, because if we don't break something or fuck somebody, we're gonna kill somebody. That's just how it goes. So, yeah. But if you can turn that into infrastructure, right on, brother. That's awesome.
That's what I did. That's what I did with Dragonstorm. You know?
Yeah.
And I lost my mind, and people liked it. And then eventually, the ones that understood stuck around. We built something together. So,
okay, that's how it is, man. Truth recognizes truth.
Oh shit! Hold up! Me and K-Log are planning to do a horror review.
What?
Yo, K-Log. Me and K-Log are planning to do a horror movie review show soon. Yo, trans fat.
Hail trans fat. Man, he's been like the prodigal son for a couple of years. You know, I'm happy that you guys are actually on the same page again, and not trying to kill each other, and you know, working together, because you two had a very special comedy dynamic, and you guys back in classic fucking Cotton, I guess you want to call that, there was nothing like that, and I missed that shit. Yeah,
nothing like it. Nothing like the off the wall shit. The off the wall shit. When fucking Snowdub is the straight man in a comedy act, you know what I mean? It's like it's got
to be interesting, right?
With Snow and I do shit, you know, it's mostly like Walton's going off on somebody, and Snow's gonna bring balance to the situation, which is like that's how we operate. But when it's fucking K-Log, dude, and the way that the comedy routines, the shit that comes out of his mouth is unfucking real. And it's like the best quotes, the best bullshit you're ever gonna hear. When he moved on,
you gotta play that trans fat outro when we close the show down, man. That fucking thing where K-Log's like behind Miss Piggy.
Listen. Oh fuck. All right. Yeah, I'll do it. All right, I'll do it. So like when as a matter of fact, when K-Log did the bit where he cut off Miss Piggy's face because he was so upset and was wearing it as a fucking mask, I was done. That bitch took my cocaine. I was done.
So you know what's weird is like he's supposed to kind of sound like Kermit, but he totally doesn't. But that's kind of how you want Kermit to sound.
Dude, he absolutely. God, do I have it? I gotta see if I've actually got it. Trans fat intro. There's trans fat. Yeah, dude. I can't wait for that, Snow. So when that happens, guys, audience, listen. If you guys want to see some mentally disturbed comedy, I'm gonna send you straight over there. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm glad he told you that. I'm glad he said, because I've known that for a long time, but I didn't want to tell anybody. Because he asked me not to, but that's fucking awesome. Yes, he is definitely there. That is definitely
I have to
his
go track him
YouTube
down.
account.
That's cool. I miss that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's been yeah, he's fucking great. Yeah, Leatherface K-Log, absolutely. All right. Well, dude, I guess do your outro for tonight.
Yeah, man. So hey, you're listening to the Throat of Immortal Coil. We do this weekly show on Saturdays when my phone's not broken. You could tune into my channel 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. And tonight we're going to be talking about conjuring, and we're going to be talking about spirit guides a little bit. We touched on that briefly earlier in the program, but this show, the Savage Spirituality Show, is like the Jedi Council meets fucking Star Trek and all that kind of stuff. Except it's told from the point of view of an experiencer. You guys, I've had metaphysical phenomenon happening to me my entire life, non-human entities, all that kind of stuff. I've been up there. I've seen it. I've stuck my dick in it. I'll just say it like that. And other than that, you can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. I'm Immortal Coil. In my video, I post links to all of both mine and Steven's social media, so you can find us there. And then if you can't join us live, catch it in the replay. Just drop us a comment, let us know how we're doing. Share the video out to any like-minded people, and use timestamps too. If there's a particular point in the discussion where we say something poignant to you and you want to send it to your grandma or whatever, say like, "Hey, go here, this timestamp, pow." Other than that, hail to the chat, hail trans fat. I love you guys, and thank you, Steven, for hosting this little shindig.
Yeah, man, had fun. I wanted to come back from my sexcation, my vacation, and gonna start making videos again. Gonna go back to the grind on TikTok, Instagram. I will make YouTube specific videos. I will get back to those long form videos and keep growing this thing and doing what I love, which is what I do now. So I appreciate you guys. Please remember to. I am Lodonis Ravenful Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Please remember to wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, yet suffer no fools.
Suffer no negative fuel.
No negative fuel, yeah, no fools. Hail trans fat.
My spawn will grow to conquer the world.
What's up?
I am defined by my friends and my dog. Glory to the trans fat chat. Glory, trans fat chat.